Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Your membership to Gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Matt Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here. Oh, look at Nussflush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Ken. Kenny Ken wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Red Small make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Ken, Smoke and Mirrors, Director 97. Home. That is the way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the Eldorado Custodian, Billy Friedrich. Those one all coming down to the finish.
Coin! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
From the corporate Peter Low Shack, legendary sports handicapper, more dapper than a dawn. Father young phenom, known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, when we all PSR, Pub Sports Radio is all. There's a man named Slaughter and he flipped the script. No competition in this but they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, betting with the bag and you love it. We want it top 10, we above it. Let's check.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Getting into the show, focused on all the work that we need to do, and coming in and reading Christopher Ng, our friend, just such a friend of the channel, friend of the show, and guy who brings so much energy to our thoroughbred shows. And he says, community member update. Just want to make you aware my mother has unfortunately lost her battle with stage 4 breast cancer. Oh, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. There's nothing anybody can say to make that any better, but I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. And she's clearly raised such a great guy in you, and and now you pass that on in life. You pass on all of the wonderful things and that she brought. It's clear just from being your friend that any community that has your family in it is fortunate, is lucky. Reading that you're going to be with your sister today and studying the Fountain of Youth and celebrating your mom. That's all you can do. And I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry you had to go through that, and that you'll be going through it. But what a lucky guy you are to have a mom like that, and instilling all the positivity and all the kindness that you show on to others. So sorry, Christopher, and thankful to be your friend. And I'm looking forward to Cap the Fountain of Youth too, my man. I'm looking forward to hear what you're going to be moving on. And I am thankful for your friendship and what a job your mom did raising you and your sister. So our thoughts and prayers are with you today, Christopher. Shout out to all the Cappers in the chat. Fap win in the house. Fap win, we've missed you. It's hard to go from that to Fap wins vat of lube, but here we are. Fap win, my guy. We've missed you. We also have a Gorky with 2 donos, the Skunk Blaster, blessing our action. Skunk Blaster about to be moving, is in the midst of moving from Iowa to Oklahoma. The Skunk Blaster in the house. I'm gonna go over all of this stuff. There's great stuff here coming from the chat. Fap win betting the New York Rangers money line. That was my plan, Fap, but I flipped. I'm starting. I don't know why it took so long to have the confidence to flip. We flipped with that Seattle St. Louis hockey game. I flipped. I cannot back the Rangers without Fox, and we'll see if what's his name? I don't want to mess up the pronunciation. I don't know why I'm tripping here. K'Andre Miller, who may or may not be in the lineup, who may force his way into the lineup. But now, you're going to miss your top 2 defensemen. You know what we do? We fade a team missing their top 2 defensemen. Now, the Leafs are missing Tanev, which is a huge blow. But I am on the Leafs, and I'm on the Leafs to win on the -1 line. I'm not. I think the Leafs can win by margin here. But we have action here. Australian Racing, Eagle Farm Race 6. Until Valhalla at odds of $6.50. That's beauty. $6.50. I love it. Geraldton Race 7 collective at odds of +220. That's +120. That's great stuff. Absolutely great stuff here. So it's a +550 on until Valhalla, +120 on collective. That's great stuff. Thank you for sharing that with us. And we miss you. Fap. Well, I've already copied and pasted that. We got Viper NB in the house. 1-0 yesterday. Indiana Pacers -4.5 and Portland -2.5. LJ from H-Town. Trill OG play today. Memphis -3.5. 8-0 against spread last 8 games at home versus the East, and 4-0 against spread at home on Friday. I want to join you on that. I have moved on a few spots here today. I'm looking forward to cap the card with everybody. We have Kripke saying Pistons so hot, burning a hole in my computer screen. And right below that, Justin McKelvey fading the Pistons. I told you guys I was going to bet the Pistons yesterday right after the show, and I did. I got -105. So it's one of the rare situations where I'm up against Stacks play of the day. We have Justin Stacks play today, number 2 Pelicans team total over 114.5. Respect play today, Davidson first half +8.5. Tsitsipas and Tomljanovic money line for Gorky. There's the nuke worker in the house. He's also on UCLA +5.5 with Western Kentucky money line. I didn't add that, Gorky. Sorry, with Western Kentucky money line. Pig milk play today. Georgia State plus 5.5. We're going to cap each and every one of these games here on today's show. So we got 3 NHL, 23 college basketball. Wine Time joining us for NBA. Old E ready to go. Serious business in the house. Nate Dogg 420. Kong's Clip says, don't have anything today, but tomorrow my smash play will be Louisville first half and Houston first half. I love it. I love it, Kong. I will copy and paste that. Dan Kelly says, last night on the TNT NBA show, Shaq commenting on Chuck being 0-21 on SGPs that he's touted on the show. Said it should be called Fan Lose, not Fan Duel. Says, the producers were shitting their pants. That's funny. There's not. I mean, Shaq doesn't play by the rules, man. So that's funny. I like it. Dan Kelly says you won't hear that joke again. There's not Flush Allen in the house. Nate Dogg's play today. McKinnon to score and Brooklyn money line. There's my guy Wine Time Sports. He will be joining us on this big, beautiful NBA card, of which I've moved on 2 spots. I bet every game in NHL. I've moved on 4 spots in college basketball, and I bet 2 games in NBA, and there's more coming. Dan Kelly says I'll be on the Cavs money line tonight, but don't tail me. It's the Celtics' 3rd game in 4 nights. How do we not back the Cavaliers? I want to back the Cavaliers, but I do want to talk it out with everybody. Ross Pitts in the house. We got everybody ready to rock. It's great to see you guys. North Ender ready to get to work. Great to see you, North Ender, my man. Great to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining us here. This is an important day, an important show. It's very important for us to roll into the weekend, with a fatter bankroll. It's such an important. Your weekend sort of. It's so important, the Friday night leading into your weekend. And look, some of you guys maybe go out on Friday nights. I don't. I'm alone with my action. As soon as the kids go down, the roller coaster ride begins. Shout out to the Skunk Blaster with the Dono 1999. Says, sure, fellas, surely being distant lately in the process of moving from Iowa to Oklahoma. Got midday Skunk Bag play day for y'all. Fiorentina money line and Echeverry money line parlay at plus 240. And there's Slatsy with a 1999 Dono. Says 8-0 last night. Wow, that's awesome. With the help of the world's greatest chat. Shout out to Billy Frieder for getting him on Hayden plus 2.5 shots on goal. Best night of the season. Go Habs. Go Slatsy. I love it. Love it. Love the positivity. Newkirker says, unfortunately, it's a cycle of life. You're absolutely right, Newkirker. You're absolutely right. And, all we can do is love as fiercely as possible. That's the only thing we can do. That's the only thing we're in control of. Love the people that you care about, love the people around with as much of you that you can, with everything that you can. Love, 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 love. Squeeze your kids nonstop. That's all you can do. And have get-togethers like Pabapalooza, man. So that you can be with your friends, be with the people that you care about. North Ender gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. Much love, North Ender. Thank you so much. James Kennedy getting it. James Kennedy is a famous name, of course. You have one of the movie stars, James Kennedy. I had a James Kennedy that it was a comic in Vancouver that was a great friend. Any man with the name James Kennedy is a friend of mine. Redbeard says only play so far as the Leafs. I'm right with you. And I did flip. But I spent a ton of time studying it. We got G Biz in the house, ready to get to work. DC Capper, Gravy Bets. Here is Nut Flush Allen, who's got his mom with him right now, and he's caring for her. Says she's in a better place and free from the pain. Try to think of the amazing times in your life with mom. That's a perfectly put. A Nut Flush. Ross Pitts on the over in the Yale Dartmouth game, over 154.5. Says let's get it. Let's do exactly that. Let's get it. Life can be so relentless. And I'm so thankful that I get to cap with you guys and I get to be here with you guys. And it brings me so much. And I'll never stop being thankful ever that I get to cap with you guys. Means the world to me. Ron Lofton says, can't watch my sons anymore. Very disappointing. watching the Pelicans beat them was very pleasing for me. Ronnie Lofton, DC Capper also on Georgia State plus 4.5. I've copied and pasted that. North Ender says payday from the local plus 13.4 units. I love it. Those Fridays are nice. Nice. Chase J, the man, says becoming a member was the best decision of my life. Rick J said, had to manually search for your show again. YouTube playing games. Thank you so much for doing that. That means so much. I'm sorry that sometimes we get messed with. Thank you for supporting us. Wine Time gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. Redbeard gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. You guys, that means so much to us. We got Mr. Belvedere in the house. Morgan Spooner sick today, but of course in the chat, and he's really sick. He wants to be on screen with us, but he's in the chat. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of wonderful and important comments that will be here dropped in the chat. DC Kepper also on the under in the Bruins game, UCLA Bruins game. John Chow in the house. God, I go through these names and so many. I mean, it's of course a situation we cap all we do is cap every day, and so the people that you cap with become your best friends, and that's happened for me, and I'm very thankful for it. And honestly, if I didn't have Pubapalooza, I would question honestly how real it is. Now I know it's real, but when we actually get together, then you're like, oh, this is what I've been putting all my energy into. And it makes sense. It's been kind of a heavy start to the show. Our thoughts are with the Ying family. Our thoughts are also with the T-Moss family. Terry lost his stepdad last weekend. He's trying to help raise funds with his mom for a burial. He has put together a fundraising campaign on GoFundMe. If anybody can help support it with anything, and you don't, if you can't, no problem. But maybe you could just send Terry a message saying that our thoughts are with him. If Jose could pop that up here in the chat, maybe pin it or however we can do that for our friend Terry Moss. G Biz now a member of Weeby Pubbin. Ross Pitts now a member of Weeby Pubbin. Thank you guys so much. It means so much to us. The support means so much. Now, let's get to work. Skunk Blaster says, we have never met, but you're like a father to me. That no one's ever said that to me before.
What the hell? No one ever said that to you. What the hell?
It's wild. Okay.
What a fucking stab in the back. Oh my God.
Jose says that to me every day. But this feels a little different. Oh man, it's a heavy start to the show. Carter has never said that to you. Okay. Okay, it's been a heavy start to the day. Thank you, Nuke Worker. Okay, let's get to work. Heavy start to the show. Let's get to work. It's I've not read somebody write something like that. I think Jose is kind of teasing me when he calls me father. I don't, but means a lot to me. Okay, let's get to work, fellas. We start in the National Hockey League, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Toronto Maple Leafs 36-20-2, 69-2 on the road at the New York Rangers, 29-25-4, 14-12-2 at home. We're at Madison Square Garden in New York. All right, you guys. All right, Slatty. Okay, guys. Oh, man. My creepy stepfather, thank you. Justin says I destroyed Jose's feelings. Okay, let's roll. Joseph Wall, Igor Shesterkin between the pipes for these two squads. Wall, 20-11-0, 2.63 goals against average, 910 save percentage, 1 shutout. Shesterkin, 20-20-2, 2.93 goals against average, 906 save percentage, 3 shutouts. And G Biz, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support from all of you guys. It's it's a battle that what we do, and it can be. I mean, it's one of those things that can be so detrimental, or it can bring so much to you, depending on the success of how you cap and keeping everything in check and caring about your bankroll and not putting yourself in real vulnerable situations. But it means so much to have all of your support from everybody. It means so much. So thank you, G Biz, my man, and thank you to all of you guys. Okay, we have Toronto facing the New York Rangers here. This is a beauty. Madison Square Garden. I only got to watch one hockey game there in my entire life. It was a 3-3 tie between the Quebec Nordiques and the New York Rangers. I guess that ages me a little bit. So I was watching this line, and I was very interested in how people were going to bet this, because obviously, like anybody, I look at the Rangers as a plus money dog at home. I want to bet them. I was sure I was going to bet them. It's like, oh, God, Rangers plus money dog at home. They open up at plus 105. They're at plus 109 right now. We've got a very, very slight move towards the Toronto Maple Leafs. We have a total here of 6. It's minus 114 to the over. God, please, I can't deal with this all day. That was very slow. The line movement coming up. We've had a 2-cent move to the over, just a 2-cent move towards the over. BJ's best bet, Clippers plus 1.5. You got the Clippers at plus 1.5? Jesus. Are you serious? I'll buy off of my action if I'm sitting here with a 6-point worse line than you. Good God. Last night you got it at plus 1.5? Fuck. Where? This opened up at 1:30 in the morning at plus 2.5. It opened up at 1:30 in the morning at plus 3.5 at offshore. Can you give us the initials of the offshore book? Just the initials of it. That's I bet the Clippers minus 4.5. Sorry, that just threw me for a loop. Honestly, when someone has a 6, yeah.
I still can't believe you. I can't believe it. I'm getting shot down in the chat, and now my own father comes down and puts me down too. God, I'm shocked.
There is a little bit of a different way that it was presented to me there in the chat than the way. Thank you, Redbeard speaking for me. Honestly, hearing now, I guess it was a mistake by the book to put it at 1.5, but that does, when I hear someone who beats my line by 6 points, it makes me want to pick up my computer and smash it. But I'm not going to get angry, and I would like to stay focused here. Joseph Wall versus Igor Shesterkin. Let's get into the line history here in the National Hockey League. We have we did the line total. Sorry, we did all that. So let's get back to business. Sorry. Okay, so Toronto power play, Rangers power play, very similar. This Rangers power play, we said, is going to climb and skyrocket. Well, it's not anymore. Not without Adam Fox at the point. Yes, JT Miller's a huge, huge asset, but you need a point man. Then the Leafs here are 3-0 post 4 Nations. They come in off a 5-4 overtime win at Boston on Tuesday. And it was a very underwhelming victory. They just have so much more skill than the Bruins. There was nothing that the Bruins can do. For those of you who've hated on Mitch Marner, and there's a bunch of people here who have done that, I hope that you are now seeing what everybody else sees in the kid. He's a phenomenal hockey player. He's one of the best hockey players in the world, is what he is. And his talent, it makes everybody on the Leafs so much better because he's a pass-first player. So they come in off that 5-4 overtime win at Boston on Tuesday. It was underwhelming. And now I've been saying this was going to happen all year. Chris Tanev was going to get hurt. He's too old to be playing the minutes that he's playing. The Canucks, the idiots they are, thought his career was over 4 years ago. A bunch of ass clowns. Tanev did everything he possibly could for the Vancouver Canucks franchise. Everything he possibly could. And we threw him out with the bathwater because our management brass has been a bunch of ass clowns. Ass clown after ass clown. We miss Pat Quinn. May he rest in peace. So Tanev isn't expected to play Friday, but he might not be out for long. That's what David Alter of the Hockey News has been saying. He might not be out for long. He's day-to-day. He got hurt during the 5-4 overtime victory versus Boston. 151 block shots. If they bring Philippe Myers in, this is a really weak defense. I've been saying it all year. A very, very weak defense. And we'll just go over what this defense looks like. They've been running McCabe and Tanev into the ground. And I kept saying it's going to catch up to them. And it hasn't yet. It hasn't yet. Now we have Tanev's first injury. But he's not the only one. We all watched Nylander on the bench. He was bothered by an undisclosed injury. To me, it looked like a wrist. Looked like it was up here on his right hand. We don't know what it was, but he couldn't play in that overtime. You have Max Pacioretty who's trying to get back in. I don't think that's a big deal, honestly. I mean, he's trying his hardest as a older China doll. 5 goals, 13 points. But he does have 105 hits. He understands that he's not the sniper that he once was, that he's got to, use his size a little bit. They're also missing Connor Dewar, Kalle Yarncroc, and Yanni Hakanpää. Of course, I want to fade the Leafs. God, Tanev's out. Of course, I want to fade them. Now let's talk about Adam Fox. He was put on the injured reserve Wednesday. They're hoping that Fox will be available down the stretch. This is not one of those situations where you can keep him off for the rest of the year for LTIR because they won't make the playoffs without him. He's got to be back. He's going to be out for at least the next 3 games. 7-game scoring streak he's on. 48 points in 58 games. A perennial Norris Trophy candidate. And now, to make matters worse, Keandre Miller. He'd be the one that would move up. He'd be the one to move up to the first power play unit. But he's questionable due to a lower body injury. So if you take the top, who they're going to bring in Matthew Robertson's going to make his NHL debut. Having Keandre Miller out. Now, Chris Kreider's close to returning from a broad body injury. JT Miller is sick. He wasn't at practice this morning. He wasn't at practice yesterday. So we'll see if he's good enough to go. He's been playing very, very well. If he's not in, Arthur Kaliev is going to be in. This is not a draw. This is worse for the Rangers. And you could say, look, Nylander and Tanev are, let's say more important in the Leafs than Fox and Keandre Miller. And it's just not the case. You could take Nylander out of the lineup, and what's going to happen? Martin is going to play out of his mind. Matthew's going to have to do so much more. Tavares is going to have to step up offensively. We've seen Nicholas Robertson rolling right now. Matthew Nyes can do it. Bobby McMahon has been not very good this year. He could step up to the first line. You have all these options. What happens when you're missing your top 2 defensemen? You're just screwed. You're screwed. And that's what's going to happen here with the Rangers. But look, Oliver Ekman-Larsson playing first line minutes is laugh out loud funny. He's not good enough, and he's bringing Morgan Riley down with him. Jake McCabe here has to be the tough guy because they don't have a tough guy. It's the same issue with Manson in Colorado. And then when we get over to the New York Rangers here, let's get over here quickly. I'm going to have to start this all up. Here we go. This defense is going to be Ryan Lindgren and Will Borgen? Your top 2 defensemen? What do you got? Vakanainen with Braden Schneider? You got to move Zach Jones up? It's an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess. So there we go. There's Timos in the house. Timos, we spoke about you off the top, my friend. There's my guy, UPK Yashiola. He is on Matthew's goal prop and Panarin goal prop. And Saturated said, was it the mistake that you didn't acknowledge your oldest child? Yes, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. Okay, let's roll on here. And Joey B saying Minnesota, Colorado tonight here in Denver. Minnesota got blown out last night. Utah Avs playing really well. Avalanche on the money line minus 325. Is that the player tonight, Jimmy? Look, I would never bet a minus 325. So is Avalanche on the puck line? No, I don't think so. I'm on the under 6 with Mel. Gustafson's going to be in that. We're going to get to that here in a second. But I bet on that. I took the Leafs -1. I took the Leafs -1 here. I got a nice number. I got the Leafs -1 at, but it's pretty much what's available now at plus 137. I got the money line -123. Actually, it looks like you could probably get better right now. Then is that right? Sorry, let me just move back. I got -123 on the money line. Now you get -120. You get a better line. So I'm on the Leafs -1 again. I don't want really -120 money lines, especially when there's so much talent on the ice in a 3-on-3 situation. There's not a huge advantage. I don't see a huge advantage. A wild puck line for Barry Smith here. So let's roll on. That's my first spot on the board. I'm on the New York Rangers here on the Rangers. And I didn't do a review of last night in NHL. As you could imagine, it didn't go great. The Ducks plus 130 was just as easy as possible. I hope you got in live too when the Canucks were up 2-0. And we have another chance to fade the Canucks tomorrow night in Seattle. Columbus, Detroit over 6. That line moved so heavily against me, but we got paid. Jets -1 was a loser, and Oilers -105 was a loser. Blackhawks first period plus a half -115 was a loser. That was awful. Hurricanes -1.5 plus 122 was a casher. And that Pitt Philly, of course, I took the under 6 except instead of the first period under 1.5, which blew up my face. So it was 3 and 5 plus -1.83 units. The problem with it was that Washington did. It looks like they are going to start losing. So St. Louis did cash. Columbus did cash. It was good that I did not take Philadelphia as they lost in overtime to Pittsburgh. I thought that Capitals and Pittsburgh would show some heart, but I certainly left money on the table because the Lightning covered the puck line as well. All right, let's roll here. Rick J, no worries, man. We know where your mind is. We know that you care about us very much, so no worries. Let's roll on to the next. Just don't worry about anything. Let's just cap my man. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. The Colorado game is our final spot on the board. Next up for us at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have the Los Angeles Kings 31-17-8, 12-14-5 on the road at the Dallas Stars, 37-19-2, 27-1 at home. We're at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Darcy Kemper is being phenomenal. 18, 6 and 6, 2.21 goals against average, 918 save percentage, 2 shutouts. So he needs to play 10 more games. He needs to start 10 more games. And if he does, I owe Ricky Levine $100 because that 918 save percentage is far higher than what I expected it to be. The Ottinger, 27-13-2, 2.43 goals against average, 909 save percentage, 1 shot. He's not being very good. He's not being as good as he could be. The Kings power play 15.2%. And mark my words, unless Doughty can turn back the clock, and Doughty was hurt, God, this power play is going to cost them. It's going to cost them. They're not going to win a playoff series because their power play is so much weaker than their opponents. They're not scoring the big goal on the power play because it's a weak power play. And that 15.2% power play is going up against the best penalty killing in the league in the Dallas Stars, which makes the under pretty appealing. Res Mob in the house. Steve G says, I'm on the Kings here. Value is low, though. I'm not on the Kings. I want to fade the Kings. Where do we fade the Kings? On the road. Where do we back the Kings? At home. It's that simple. The Kings have won 12 of 31 games in regulation on the road. That's it. 12 of 31. Now, you may have a vividness bias of them rolling on the road like they did last year. This is not that team. Remember, they had the league. They broke the record of consecutive road wins in the first half of the season last year. Let's go into the line history here for this one. This line was moving towards the Kings, and it didn't stop me. I was clearly moving towards the Kings, and I was like, okay, well, I got in at a great time, it looks like. That can come back to haunt me. This opened up at -145, and it went down to -122. I keep thinking about Billy telling me, look, when the line goes against you, your ROI goes up. Don't let it concern you. So I said, I don't care. I want Dallas here. And you could say, look, Heiskanen's out. Oh, why would you want Dallas? And I'll explain. I'll explain here right now. Take a look at the total. I would like to get in on the under. I'd like to get in on the under. There's no doubt about it. Maybe I've talked myself into it now. There's been an 8-cent move to the under. Those under 5.5s are a sweat. They're a sweat nonstop here. The Kings come in off a 3-2 overtime. Oh, and I lost the Wild, of course. Sorry, that was the fifth loss. Lost with Wild plus 156. Great job, Steve G on Utah Hockey Club. They destroyed the Wild. The Kings come in a 3-2 overtime loss at home versus Canucks on Wednesday. Drew Doughty missed Wednesday's game versus Canucks with the lower body injury. We didn't know about it. So it's going to be unclear what they're going to be doing if he's going to be in the lineup here tonight. I don't think he is. They've been going with 7 defensemen because it's, Mikey Anderson's a hell of a defenseman, but it's not the strongest group. It's too bad they don't have Dursey on that group. The Stars finished off their post-Four Nations road trip with a 6-4 loss at Columbus on Tuesday. So they have issues on defense. We know that. They're not going to have Heiskanen. Liam Bichelle is day-to-day, and Nils Lundqvist is done for the year. Those were young defensemen that were kind of just filling roles, and they don't have Tyler Seguin. We talk about what do you need from a team when they come home from a road trip. If you want to bet them on the first game at home, there's 2 things that I need. I need them to come in off of a loss, and I need them to have the extra day. They can't have played on Wednesday, flown home on Thursday, and play at home on Friday. Of course, this works perfectly for Dallas. They're coming off the loss to Columbus, 6-4 on Tuesday. They got the day of full rest on Wednesday, travel, rest. Thursday, they come in, optional skate. Friday, they're ready to beat a Kings team that can't win on the road and is incapable of scoring power play goals, especially when they need one. And their power play goals, if you notice, a lot of them are like Kempe off a rush, which you need to be working, the half wall on a power play. And you need to be dominant when you have the puck on the half wall. Ask the Leafs and Rangers aren't quite close to what the Leafs are doing. So this defense is a problem, but Lyubushkin we know what Harley's doing now, and we know what Esa Lindell can do. Harley is saying, look, I'm the number one guy here, and he's only 23. We watched how spectacular he played for Team Canada. He didn't even know he was going to be playing. In that final game against America, Harley played the 3rd most minutes. I believe it was 23 a game. Harley's a beast. Harley's a monster. Fade the Kings. Billy says Stolar's likely in net for the Leafs here. I'm fine with that. I don't mind that. So Bet This Guy says so hard to find value in NHL. I don't think it is. I'm on Dallas on the -1 line. I want the score. I want the cash. And I'm not going to sit here and just, pick up $250 on a $300 bet. I want to be rewarded with the Dallas Stars, and I don't mind the push. If it's a push, I don't care. I went for the score. I got a really nice line on this -1. This is when it was at their low watermark, -122 on the money line, plus 195 on the puck line. I got a -1 at plus 133. Plus 133. Billy Friedrich with me on the Stars, -1. I love it. Kripke loving the Stars as well. Lex Steele says, wild team total over 1.5 killed a plus 12,300 parlay yesterday. That sucks. Ricky Levine. We were just speaking of Ricky Levine as you're about to be $100 richer if Kemper can play 10 more games, which is likely. Odinger confirmed for Dallas, says Slatsy. Ricky Levine, Dallas team total over 2.5 has cashed 8 of the last 10 games. Okay, let's roll. Next spot on the board, the final spot on the board, is Minnesota Wild, Colorado Avalanche. We heard that Mel got in really early on the under 6, and why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she get in on this spot? I get it. This has moved now to a 5.5, but it's not a real 5.5. It moved just after the show started. It's -119 to the over, plus 106 to the under. But this had got up to -121 on the under 6. And I agree. I completely agree with her. The Avalanche are playing real conservative hockey. It's not that as much as, and not having Eric Sneck will hurt them. It's, as Mel's been saying over and over again, they're getting no production from their bottom 6 forwards. You could even say their bottom 9 forwards they're getting no production from. So you have a Minnesota team coming off being embarrassed 6-1. No Eriksson Ek, who you need badly if you were in like a playoff series against the Avalanche. And they have no Kirill Kaprizov. For this Avalanche team, you have Josh Manson out. He's been out since February 4th, so they don't have toughness, which doesn't hurt them too much unless, it doesn't hurt them too much here. So the Avalanche snapped their 2-game losing streak with a dominant 5-1 win at home versus the Devils on Wednesday. they'd come off back-to-back losses. McCarr and McKinnon needed the break so badly. They get the break, and they're a powder keg. They explode late against the Devils. Now you have a Minnesota Wild team with their number one goalie in net after being embarrassed. They know that they can't, if the Avalanche draw any penalties, they're going to score. They have to play as conservative as possible. They have to keep the puck deep. They have to cycle, and I think they're going to do it. So I'm on the under 6 with Mel. I got the under 6 at minus 117. So it was moving to the under when I got it. So that's my 3 spots in NHL for today. I am on the Toronto Maple Leafs -1. I got that Leafs -1 at plus 137. I'm on the Stars -1. I got that -1 at plus 133. And I'm on Minnesota Colorado under 6 at minus 117. Now, if Colorado opens the scoring, I'm not going to want to live bet the under. You know what? I'm probably not going to want to live bet the under in Minnesota, Colorado at all. I just, because you guys know, like, if the Leafs go down a goal or Stars go down a goal, it's an immediate live bet on them. Usually I would live bet the under here, but Colorado could explode. I was going to say I want Minnesota up a goal, but then if Colorado needs to score, they score. So I'm not going to look to live bet it, but I will look to live bet both the Leafs and the Stars if they go down a goal. All right, that is NHL for Friday, February 28th. Friday, February 28th. Let's roll on here to college basketball. 17 bets I had in college basketball last night. If I had taken Green Bay full game and not first half, I have a winning night. I was that close. I went 8-8 with a push. I mean, if Morehead State holds on, I have a winning night. Troy Torrance says, since my 4-day break, 36-16 plus 21 units, finally getting the black in NCAA basketball. I would like to join you. And if you look at my numbers, I've gone in the wrong direction. I had got down to 7 units down, and I need to roll here. Nuke Worker, that's, of course, remember, that game's at Ohio State Stadium. It's at Buckeye Stadium. That's the outdoor stadium series. So it's a very, very different situation. Not the regular situation here. I've made 4 bets on today's college basketball card, and my man Spooner, I'm right with him. I am on Brown here minus. What did I get? Sorry, let me just see exactly what I got here. I've made 4 bets. 2 I caught on to the line movement right when it was moving, but this one I bet last night. Brown minus 110. Let's take a look at the line history and the cash flow. I imagine we should get cash flow for these games. I really need a lot of help here from the chat as we're going to be doing this with just us, but 23 games, and I'm ready to roll. I moved on Brown minus 110 on the money line. It's a minus 1.5 right now with Brown. They opened up at plus 1 and then went to minus 1.5 at 2:42 a.m. So I was good there. It was in business. I could have got the plus 1 at minus 113. I sent it in on the money line at minus 110. I mean, 3 cents for a push on a 1-point loss. I was like, maybe there was some value there, but I didn't take it. Let's see what's going on the money line. Now, the money line gets out much earlier on 365 than it does on the offshore that we're talking about, but the offshore has it at minus 118 for Brown. They also opened it at minus 110 at 8 in the morning, and then it was a 2-cent move initially towards Harvard. So I am very pleased with the situation, and I can explain exactly why I like it. This total 140, it's juiced to the under. This opened up at 141.5. So let's roll. Brown had their, let's see, Man Bear Pig says, hit my biggest parlay of my life last weekend. I love to hear that. Billy Friedrich on the over 140.5. Brown had their 3-game winning streak snapped in an 85-81 loss at home to Cornell last Saturday, and they play at Dartmouth tomorrow night. So there's nothing. This is just a regular old game for Brown. Harvard, though, comes in off their 3rd win in 4 games, 79-78 in overtime at Pennsylvania last Saturday. These teams met in an 80-76 Harvard win as 4.5-point Dogs at Brown back on January 18th. So we have Rebenga. But that's not the angle here. The angle is solely this. Harvard hosts their rival Yale tomorrow night. Yale's not lost a game in conference all year. And Yale beat Harvard 84-55 at home back on January 25th. Their thoughts, their angle, they want to play Yale tough tomorrow night. Their biggest rival that completely embarrassed them, that comes in undefeated. How do they not look past Brown here? How in the world do they not look past Brown here? Shout out to my guy, Super True Story in the house. Mr. Belvedere coming off a big day. Let me copy and paste that action. And I am on the Brown Bears in Cambridge, Massachusetts tonight. Let me pop this here. And Rick J says, yeah, the Yale look ahead spot. That's the number one angle for me here in this spot. Let me just take another look here at Stacks is both an NBA. The Respect is the Davidson game. Gorky, UCLA, and had it with Western Kentucky. Okay, because Western Kentucky was last night, of course. So Ross Pitts is on this over in Yale Dartmouth. We have Georgia State and UCLA under here for DC Capper. So let's roll on. Next up for us is my second bet on the card. It's interesting that the guys want to back the chips here in this third game, but we're not going to get there yet. We have both these games start at 5 p.m. So it's nice to get the early action here. 5 p.m. Eastern, we have the Yale Bulldogs, 18-6, 11-0 in the Ivy. Would Dartmouth be considered a top mouth or a bottom mouth, Jimmy? Interesting. If it's a Dartmouth, it's top mouth. Yeah, that's right. Darts or cigarettes. But good question, Billy Friedrich. Fair question. Yale Bulldogs, Dartmouth Big Green. Yale Bulldogs, of course, 11-0 in the Ivy. Dartmouth Big Green, 13-11, 7-4 in the Ivy. But we don't call it the top mouth. You know that, Billy Friedrich. This is the food pussy. I've never said top mouth. I've said bottom mouth thousands of times. Yale comes in off its 12th straight win, 90-64 at home over Columbia last Saturday. They're rolling. They're dominating. Now, Dartmouth is just 7-4 in the Ivy. They're second place in the Ivy. Second. So they care about this game very, very much. They lost 83-67 at Yale back on January 20th. Dartmouth comes in off its fifth win in 6 games, 76-61 at Princeton last Saturday. They've never been better. They're playing their best that they played all year. Dartmouth hosts Brown tomorrow night. And here we go. It's Dartmouth. So I moved on Dartmouth as soon as I could. This is an extremely important game for the Mean Green. And I took them plus 9.5 at minus 113. I bet that last night. This line's moving very quickly in our favor. Shout out to our guy, Sportsman of the Year, Lucky Lefty in the house. So this total is at 154.5 right now. The other books I'm looking at 156 is 156.5. This just dropped to 154.5. It dropped to 154.5 5 minutes ago. If anybody is interested in the under in this one, bet it now because these books are going to follow this book's suit and lower the number. We have, oh my God, it's a 7. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That feels good. This opened up at 9.5. 9.5. Bet it last night. 9.5 is widely available. In fact, the initial move. Oh no, it was right away moving towards. No, it was a 1 cent. Yeah, it was a 1 cent move initially towards Yale, but now we're down to a 7, and it's juiced to Dartmouth at minus 115. So we're gonna see a 6.5 soon. Fuck yeah, man, that feels good. Shout out to my guy Lil Domo in the house. Rez Mom said, I love the early games. So do I. All right, let's roll on. So those are the 5 p.m. spots. I moved on both of them. Now, I'm off for a bunch of games following this, and then I get back in. But I have moves on the both early games. I'm on the Brown Bears at minus 110, and I am on the Dartmouth Big Green, Mean Green at plus 9.5, minus 113. Let's roll on. We head over to 6 p.m. Eastern action. Central Michigan, Chippewas, the Chips 13-15, 6-9 in the MAC at the Eastern Michigan Eagles, 14-14, 7-8 in the MAC. We're at Ypsilanti, Michigan here in this one.
I'm not. I'm past it. I'm past it. My feelings are already hurt. I'm past it. But I do have a play in this game, and it is the Taint play of the day as well. So I'll let you continue.
Okay, interesting. Okay, Taint playing today as well here. We have Central Michigan -3 and -101. They opened up at -2. They're now -3. We've had the 1 point move towards the chips. From a total perspective here, we have a 147. It's -114 to the under. This opened up at 148, but it got up to 149 before this dropped to 147. So it's moving towards the under as we speak. It's getting to, we haven't been going over the cash flow for these spots, and I apologize. So let's touch on the cash flow for each of these first 3 games here. Here we go. So Brown is being backed by the public. 65% of the tickets, 69% of the tickets on the spread are on Brown. 54% of cash, but it's a very different situation on the money line. 34% of the tickets are on the money line and 81% of the cash. So big bets coming in on Brown money line. I'm on Brown money line. 71 and 72 on the over. I'm very comfortable with that breakdown. Dartmouth is being backed by the public as well, slightly. 56% of tickets and 52% of the cash. So it's slightly being backed by the public, but the markets are concerned and moving the number wildly towards the mean green, the big green. 53 and 51 on the over. Here, we're going to get no information on the spread, unfortunately, at this point, but we do have money line information. 67% of the tickets on the chips and 57% of the cash. 56 and 57 on the over. Both teams come in off poor performances on Tuesday. The chips are 6 and 9 in the MAC. Eastern Michigan 7 and 8. The chips coming off a underwhelming 73-69 win at home over Buffalo's 13.5-point favorites. I told you guys I wanted Buffalo first half. I talked myself off of it. Ricky Bobby wanting Central Michigan as well. And I don't see this as cut and dry as you guys who are backing the chips. Now, I don't want to be involved. The question for the spot is obviously the chips showed very little in a spot after they just destroyed their competition. They won their game right before this by 35 points. Let's grab it right now. They beat Western Michigan 86-57 at Western Michigan. And Western Michigan bounced back, and then they didn't really menace against Buffalo. When they destroyed Western Michigan, they were sort of in a powder keg situation. They'd lost at home to Akron 85-82. They'd lost at Ohio 84-82. These are, good teams. Akron, the top in the MAC, and then Ohio sitting 5th, but Ohio 9-6. So they expended their energy on and destroy Western Michigan. Then they no-showed versus Buffalo. My issue with this, and Troy says the market history is on Central Michigan side. Look, I'll cheer you guys on. I don't mind it, but Eastern Michigan comes off having their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 65-60 loss at home as 4.5-point favorites. So they lost at home. Now it's seniors night. These teams played back on January 14th. The Chips destroyed Eastern Michigan, beat them 82-63. They were 8.5-point favorites. They absolutely destroyed Eastern Michigan. With it being seniors night, with both teams coming off very underwhelming performances, I don't feel like I have an edge. And Morgan says he likes Central Michigan here. The gambling investigation for Eastern Michigan started after they played Central Michigan the first time. Let's hear from Jose Bouquet and from Matty Ice. Jose, what's the plan?
Yeah, so let's start off with Matty Ice, and let's get this Taint going, because Taint is Eastern Michigan here. A little flap of skin that contains so many mysteries. So many mysteries. Like a little button sometimes you have to push and you'll find out what happens. Our guy Matty Ice says EMU playing well, winners 3 of their last 4. Their top 3 players are seniors, including Jalen Terry, who will be the best player on the court. EMU in a revenge spot in a senior night game. It is his top play on the board for him. I'm on it with him. Matty Ice, I love a senior night. I love a little Rebenga. And like Morgan Spooner said, maybe these guys have to really put it on these fools for the last game. They started that whole gambling investigation. We just have to be on the right side of the rigging, everyone. So EMU plus 2.5 for me. Not often I go against the market, but for Matty Ice and Taint, I'd do anything for that little flap of skin.
I respect it. You know, it's interesting, Troy, that you couldn't care less about seniors night. You know, it's just another wrinkle in the cap. It's just more for us to work with. I'm surprised that I know we cap very differently, but it surprises me that it means nothing to you, because not only does it mean something to the team on seniors night, it means something to the road team as well that's coming in, because they know they have the packed house and the excitement. It means a ton to me. But it's all good. It's just different cappers with different angles.
Troy's discounting the mental portion, and that's why I'm going to beat him in our foot race during Pubblepalooza. He thinks that he's got the mental edge on me, but no. He thinks that I won't come to the parking lot the night before and grease his all up. He doesn't think I'll do this, but that's the disadvantage Troy has against a very mentally tough Venezuelan.
I've never been more proud of my son as I am right now. Really,
I know you're not talking about me. I know he's not talking about me, guys. God damn it.
Let's go. Let's roll on. 6:30 p.m. Eastern with the Iona Gales, 12-16, 9-8 in the Metro Atlantic. The Niagara Purple Eagles, 10-17, 5-11 in the Metro Atlantic. We're at Gallagher Center in Niagara Falls.
I hope people remember this day, because it's like BC-AD right here. You guys will remember the day that Jimmy cut me off and just said, "Go fuck yourselves." I hope you guys remember this, because our relationship will never be the same.
This total opened up at 139. It's dropped a 1.5 down to 137.5. On the point spread here for this one, we have Iona minus 1.5 at minus 115. It's a very fishy line. There has been a half-point move towards Iona, and it is juiced towards them at all as well. But it is just extremely fishy. This total, as I said, 137.5. Let's get into the cash flow. Cash flow wise, we have no information on the spread. We do know that 69% of tickets, 89% of cash is on Iona. 80% of tickets, 77% of the cash is on the over here. Iona comes in off its third loss in 4 games, 77-70 at home versus Merrimack on Sunday at a pick'em. Niagara comes in off its third straight loss, 64-61 at co-conference leaders Marist on Sunday at 7.5-point dogs. This is the first meeting this year between these two teams. It's such a fishy line. So I understand that with the fishiness of the line that Niagara, the appeal of Niagara adds, but it just felt a little coin flippy for me. You know, it felt a little coin flippy. The line was moving towards the Gales. I've trusted Niagara at times, and I had them against Marist, but that was different. That was a different situation. You know, they were trying to revenge a loss. It felt to me that, you know, the public was all over Marist, disrespecting Niagara on the road. Here, I just find it coin flippy. If I had a free bet, I would say, well, look, Gales are 9-8 in the MAC, and they're 1-point favorites here against the Purple Eagles team that's 5-11. I would venture towards the Purple Eagles here, and so I don't. I'm off. I'm off. The Niagara Purple Eagles, I'll kind of keep an eye on, but I'm off. Let's roll on. 7 p.m. Eastern with the Manhattan Jaspers, 13-12, 8-8 in the Metro Atlantic. At the Canisius Golden Griffins, 3-24, 3-13 in the Metro Atlantic. We're at the Kessler Center in Buffalo, New York. Let's get into the line history for this spot. We have the Jasper. Well, let's go with the total first. 149.5 minus 111 to the over. This opened up at 152.5. We've dropped 3 points down to 149.5. Go over to the point spread here for this spot. Manhattan sitting as 5.5-point favorites. That's exactly where they open. There's been 3 cents of movement towards the Jaspers here. Let's get into the cash flow for this spot and see if we can get some information. Here we go. We do have the information. 49% of tickets and 78% of cash on Manhattan. Big bets coming in on Manhattan. 30% tickets, 31% cash on the over. I wondered if I was going to get on Manhattan. This is their lone meeting with Manhattan this year. Manhattan comes in off their second straight loss, 74-71 at home as 4.5-point dogs versus co-conference leaders Quinnipiac on Sunday. So bottom of the table, Canisius snapped their 8-game losing streak with a 93-88 win at Siena on Sunday as 11.5-point dogs. They shot 55.6 from the field and 50% from three. I just find it almost impossible for that to continue. And Spooner says Niagara has shown the ability to show up for the best rosters in the Metro Atlantic, like Marist, Game, and Quinnipiac. He's got Marist on his list, or he's got Niagara on his list. I'll keep Niagara on my list, but I don't feel like I need at this point to move on them. But I'll keep them here on the list. Here, I would like to fade Canisius. I would like to. I don't know, how are they possibly going to shoot like they just did in that win at Siena? I mean, I guess you would think that this would be the perfect time to fade them, honestly. Now, bigger bets are coming in on the Jaspers and the line's not moving. So I'll leave this as question marks here. Slow Jams Arsenal says Jasper does better as dogs, not favorites. Justin McKelvey on Canisius. When a team has an outlier performance, whether it be positive, if it's a positive outlier performance, I want to fade them. And if it's a negative outlier performance, I want to back them. They just had the positive outlier performance. So there's a 0% chance that I'll be on Canisius. The question is, do I want to be on Manhattan? I'm not sure. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern with the Davidson Wildcats, 16-12, 6-9 in the A10 at the VCU Rams, 23-5, 13-2 in the A10 Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia. Let's roll here. Davidson comes in off its third loss in 4 games, 57-56 at home to St. Louis on Tuesdays, 1.5-point favorites. And VCU just continues to roll. They just continue to roll. We have heard from who is on this spot. Maybe I pulled it down here. Let me just go over here to the. I thought we had. I know somebody. Can you let me know? I know I'm missing somebody here who has made a move on this here. Troy Torrance says, from what I've seen, Manhattan Canisius are the same tier of basketball team. Yeah, I think that's valid. One team feels really good about themselves and kind of broke through and had an outlier performance. One team probably angry. But that does make it a little tricky with the records. So I get it. I get it. Yeah, so who's on Davidson? I thought I'd said it already. I had it here in my notes. But I can't. I just have too many pages of notes. Not Scum Blaster. We have that Dartmouth over. Georgia State. Okay. Oh, yes. Res Mob. Respect play of the day. I've got it right here. Right under Justin McKelvey. I missed it. Davidson first half plus 8.5 minus 110. There he is here in our chat. Res Mob. Respect play of the day is Davidson first half. It's an interesting look. It's an interesting look. The Loyola Marymount spot we talked about last night. Now, it took balls to bet it, and I wish I doubled up on it. I was even fortunate to cash the first half. It looked like I shouldn't have been. They were up 15-8. They scored two more points. They scored 2 points until those last 2 foul shots in the last 8 minutes. It was not very enjoyable here. Troy Torrance says, "Give me Davidson." Oh, I guess Brandon Lewis says ESPN had it looks like at that plus 1.5 for the Clippers. That's nuts. That's just wild, Brandon. So here we go. Siegel Center, Richmond, Virginia. VCU comes in off their 7th straight win, 13-14 games, 78-60 at Richmond on Tuesdays, 14.5-point favorites. This is their lone meeting with Davidson this year. Let's get into the line history for this spot. We have a Davidson right now plus 14.5. They opened up at 14.5 at 5:20 p.m. At 9:28 p.m. they went to 15.5. Now they're back at 14.5. Being 1 cent of movement, just 1 cent of movement. From a total scenario here, we have a 142. It's minus 117 to the under. Open up minus 110 to the under. 7 cents of movement towards the under. And when we get to the cash flow here for this one, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to get information I imagine that we will likely not. But we do. 53% of the tickets and 84% of the cash is on VCU. It's interesting. It's a similar cash spot as the one we just talked about. The where the hell, the Manhattan, 49% of the tickets, 78% get cash on Manhattan, and it's not moving towards them, which does make the favorite not appealing here. Billy Frieder says first half under 67.5 is the only way I could play this one, but he is off of it. I am not. This does not appeal to me. I will cheer, respect, play the day on. Resmob says VCU fat and happy. And you know what? I kind of like the first half too because VCU wears down opponents. So I get it. Let's roll on. We had 7 p.m. Eastern with the Princeton Tigers 17-9, 6-5 in the Ivy at the Columbia Lions 12-12, 1-10 in the Ivy. We're in New York for this one. Let's get into the line history here. We will start with the total in Princeton, Columbia. This total is at 150.5. It's minus 113 to the under. It opened up at 151.5, dropped a point down to 150.5 right now, but this was down to 149 for a while here. So it's just climbed up a point and a half, and that climb up was 14 minutes ago. On the point spread, we have Columbia plus 3.5 at minus 110. They opened up at plus 4.5. This move towards them just happened also 15 minutes ago. So it's a fascinating looking spot here. Let's take a look at the cash flow for the Princeton game. We have all the information we need. Princeton, the road favorite, 53% of the tickets, 45% of the cash. On the total, it's 68% of tickets and 67% of cash on the over. Princeton comes in off its third loss in 4 games, 76-61 at home versus Dartmouth on Tuesday as 7.5-point favorites. They fell behind 18-4 at 9 minutes and 31 seconds in. 18-4. I don't know how you'd fade a team like that. They play at Cornell on Sunday, so they don't have the back-to-back like other teams are dealing with Friday to Saturday in the Ivy. Columbia comes in off a 90-64 loss at Yale on Saturday, 16.5-point dogs. All 4 losses of this 4-game losing streak have come on the road by double digits, so now they come back home. They lost 71-67 at Princeton back on January 20th as 6.5-point dogs. So there's 2 things here in play for me. One, Princeton isn't going to take them lightly because they know they had a tough game against them despite being 1-10 in the Ivy. And then Princeton comes in off a complete no-show at home versus Dartmouth. In saying that, I don't want Princeton here, especially with this 1-point move towards Columbia. So I'm pretty comfortably off of this spot. Let's move on. More Ivy League action for us. And I do have 2 more bets coming here very soon. Coming here when we get over to the Metro Atlantic. But Troy Torrance says Columbia is so trash. Line is 4-point short. Columbia or pass. Yeah, I'm not involved. And the 1-point move towards Columbia is messed up. Let's roll on to more Ivy League action here. 7 p.m. Eastern with the Pennsylvania Quaker 7-17, 3-8 in the Ivy. At the Cornell Big Red 14-10, 6-5 in the Ivy. We're at Ithaca, New York, Newman Arena here for this one. We have on the side, we have Pennsylvania plus 9 right now. Minus 110. They open up plus 8. Had a 1-point move towards the Big Red. When we get to the total, we have a 159.5. It's minus 111 to the over. This opened up at 160, dropped down to 158.5. Now we're back up to 159.5. When we get to the cash flow here for the Cornell spot, seeing now that Ricky Bobby on Cornell minus 9, Justin McKelvey also on Cornell. And by the way, Wager Detective says that VCU looks like the play. I'm off of that spot. Let's talk about the cash flow, though, here for this Cornell spot. We have Cornell, Pennsylvania. We have all the information here. 73% of the tickets, 83% of cash on Cornell. Public spot, public favorite, the line moving a point in their direction. 71% of tickets, 72% cash on the under in this one. Spooner says 2 games separate 6th place and 2nd place in the Ivy. This is a huge weekend for those Ivy League teams like Cornell, Princeton, Harvard, Brown, and Dartmouth, who is in 2nd place. And we have our action here from Fat Wally. A lot of cappers have been asking about it. NASCAR Echo Parks Grand Prix. Bell at 10-1, Byron at 10-1, Cindric at 25-1, 16 each. So a lottery ticket on Kislowski, $201 for $20. Great stuff from Fat Wally. He's cashed the last 2. Nasty Nate in the house. Let's get that winning day for you. I think this is a great card, Nasty Nate. I really do. I think we're in complete control of it too. It's not an overwhelming card. I think it's a great card. Here, Quakers coming up. They're 6 lost in 7 games, 79-78 in overtime at home versus Harvard is 2.5-point favorites. And the Quakers play at Columbia on Saturday. Did I say that right? I thought. Yes, on Saturday. It's Cornell that plays on Sunday. Cornell played snapped their 4-game losing streak with an 85-81 win at Brown on Saturday as a pick'em, and they won at Pennsylvania 86-76 as 8.5-point favorites back on January 18th. This does not appeal to me at all, this spot at all. And there's so many great spots on the board. So I'm just going to move past it. Let's head over to the Metro Atlantic here and talk about this St. Peter's spot, because it was appealing, but I didn't move on it. St. Peter's Peacocks 10-14, 5-11 in the Metro Atlantic. At the Quinnipiac Bobcats 17-10, 13-3 in the Metro Atlantic. We're at M&T Bank Arena in Hamden, Connecticut. Let's get into the line history here for this Peacock spot. We have a total at 139. It's minus 118 to the over. It's opened at 139.5. It's now 139. It's a half-point move towards the under. On the point spread here, we have St. Peter's is 11-point dogs. I mean, this is just ludicrous. I was very curious as what would happen with this line. Opened up at 8.5, moved to 9.5, moved then to 10, to 10.5, to 11. This is just one-way traffic towards the Bobcats. Wild number. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. From a cash flow perspective, we have the Bobcats right now. We have no information on the spread. We know that 56 and 55% are on the under. St. Peter's is playing their best basketball this season. The market is indicating they're going to get destroyed here in Hamden. They come in off their third win in 4 games, 85-79 at home versus Sacred Heart on Sunday. It's 1.5-point favorites. Quinnipiac tied atop the standings with Marist, comes in off their third straight victory, 74-71 at Manhattan on Sunday. It's 4.5-point favorites. And they won at St. Peter's back on January 3rd, 59-46. It's just 3.5-point dogs. Billy Friedrich says, love the under and has moved on it. Alex Steele has St. Peter's at plus 9.5. It's wild. That's now at 11. I don't want anything to do with this game. The market, everything about this one makes me uncomfortable. Now, I've moved on the next game. I've moved on 2 of the next 4 games. So let's talk about the next spot. I am on the Sacred Heart Pioneers here at William H. Pitt Center in Fairfield, Connecticut. Marist Red Foxes 20-5, 13-3 in the Metro Atlantic. At the Sacred Heart Pioneers 12-15, 8-8 in the Metro Atlantic. You have a Sacred Heart team. Now, this hasn't worked. This hasn't been spectacular this week. It's been very helpful this year. It's a Sacred Heart team that record wise, and they're going up against the top team, in the Metro Atlantic, and yet they're 1-point favorites. It's a jarring situation where you would expect the books are setting up a situation where they know they're going to get a ton of Marist Red Fox money. Now, the concern here, obviously, spreadsheet play of the day is on Marist. So I'm going up against a spreadsheet play of the day here. Which is, not a situation I'd like to be in. Shout out to our guy, Ronnie Crawford. Let's talk about this line history here. This is their lone meeting with Marist. So there's no Rebenga. We heard, Spooner talk about how, Sacred Heart's new here, right? I mean, there's not a lot of history with Sacred Heart's game plan. Also, this line is very indicative that Sacred Heart is the play. This -1's gone from -103 to -116. I bet it at -116. I'm pretty sure, yes. I bet the -1 at -116 here. Let's go over to the money line. I think that will be helpful for everybody as well. On the money line, we have Sacred Heart at -122. Probably should have taken that. At the time, it was it was -122. I guess I probably should have taken that. 6 cents cheaper to get the push on the -1, whatever. But we've had 12 cents of movement on the money line towards Sacred Heart. Then let's get to the cash flow here. We have let's get over to the Sacred Heart cash flow. We have on the money line, 48% of the tickets and 78% of the cash is on Marist. Bigger bets are coming in on Marist on the money line, but this is moving towards Sacred Heart. 71 and 70 on the over. This is a appealing spot for me. It's much less so with Ron Crawford on Marist, but this is a really appealing spot. So I am on Sacred Heart here, -1 at -116. Let's move on to the next game because this is a suspicious amount of points in Ryder Merrimack. Very, very suspicious. Merrimack won at Ryder 66-64 back on February 2nd as 3.5-point road favorites. 3.5-point road favorites. So then they come home. Merrimack comes home to face Ryder, and at home, the Merrimack Warriors are -10.5. I saw Ryder plus 9.5, and they did dip down to 9. But even so, and I saw that it dipped to 9. Even so, I wasn't like, this is too many. Every single capper in the world would look at this and say there's too many points. And I was like, well, I know I'm not going to fall for it. Now, maybe they'll still cash, but I do like seeing that it's moved to 10.5. It just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense here that there would be a 7-point difference in spread with Merrimack coming home. It makes no sense. Ryder coming off their third straight loss, 79-72 at Mount St. Mary's on Sunday, 6.5-point dogs. Merrimack snapped that 3-game losing streak with a 77-70 victory at Iona in overtime at the Pick'em. I do not want Toby Lane saying Texas State money line best bet today. We've heard that from a few. We heard Mr. Belvedere talking about that spot as well. Shout out to my guy True a lot, 4th and 1 in the house. So I'm very comfortable being off of it. I can understand why Lex Steele likes Ryder plus 9.5 because it was my immediate thought as well. I just thought suspicious. That's what I wrote. Suspicious amount of points. And I just not going to be involved in that. And the move towards Merrimack is interesting. Now, again, this can all be extremely helpful even when we don't make pregame bets. Because remember, you can use all this information, live betting, and it can be very, very helpful. Nufflush says, look at Sacred Heart team total over 72.5. I will do that here. Let me put that here above the Sacred Heart spot. Okay, let's roll on. We roll on. We stay in the Metro Atlantic here. Mount St. Mary's Mountaineer, 17-10, 10-6 in the Metro Atlantic. At the Fairfield Stags, 10-17, 6-10 Metro Atlantic. Leo D. Mahoney Arena in Fairfield, Connecticut. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have Mount St. Mary's right now -2 at -110. They opened up at -3.5. So we've had a 1.5 move towards the Stags. Let's grab the total here for this one. We have Fairfield total at 142.5. This opened up at 141. We've had a 1.5 move towards the over. Justin McKelvey with Fairfield plus 2.5 in his pocket. So let's grab the cash flow for the Fairfield spot. I'm not sure if we'll get any information. Let's see if we do. We have, apologies for this taking so long. We're going to get through the 7 p.m. games and everything will be much quicker. We have no information on the spread. We do know that 70% of the tickets and 97% of the money line bets are on St. Mary's. And this line's moving drastically towards Fairfield, which obviously is making Fairfield more appealing by the minute. 76 and 78 on the over. So Fairfield, from a market-wise, is appealing. Mount St. Mary's comes in off its 4th straight win, 79-72 at home over Ryder on Tuesdays, 6.5-point favorites. Fairfield comes in off snapping their 3-game losing streak with a 69-49 win at Ryder on Friday. Both teams just played Ryder. Fairfield on Friday and Mount St. Mary's on Tuesday. So we have Fairfield with the rest advantage. They lost at Mount St. Mary's 101-94 as 2.5-point dogs way back on December 8th. This market is making Fairfield appealing. I'm going to put a asterisk here and take another look after the show. But, a 10-17 team that's 6-10 in the MAC going up against Mount St. Mary's team at 17-10, 10-6 in the Metro Atlantic. I said MAC. it does make Fairfield appealing here. Billy Friedrich leaning to the over, and Barry Smith on Fairfield money line. Justin McKelvey on Fairfield a +2.5. Let's roll on. This is my fourth bet here on the show and final spot. The rest of the card, I believe there's 3, 5, 8, 9, 10 games left. I have no action on. We'll see what we add here together. I'm on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers in this spot here. It is senior night at Coastal Carolina. They come in off their second win in 3 games, 80-74 at home over Georgia State on Wednesday. They're playing their best basketball of the season. Old Dominion comes in off their 6th straight loss. Look, they're showing us that they're just sort of giving in. They lost 83-66 at Marshall on Tuesday. It was a real disappointing display against a rival. And they destroyed Coastal Carolina, 74-52 at home on Saturday, January 25th, as 4.5-point favorites. You put this all together, Coastal Carolina comes to play today. Let's get into the line history here. We'll start with this total. The total's at 139.5. It's -116 to the under. Open up at 140.5. We've dropped 1 point to 139.5. When we get to the point spread here, we have Coastal Carolina -1 at -111. That's exactly where I got it. -1 at -111. This hasn't moved in a while. Let's grab the cash flow for the Chanticleer spot. We have no help on the spread, but we do know on the money line that 64% of the tickets and 81% of the cash is on them. That's telling as well. I mean, this is a team that, has won 2 of their last 3 games in conference, but they'd only won 1 game. They were 1-13 before this 2-1 run here. I think that the Chanticleers step up here. I think it's a great spot to bet them. You could tell the Monarchs have just sort of given up on the season, coming in off 6 straight losses. They're not coming in here excited to play here. And this is Coastal Carolina senior night. I really like Coastal Carolina here. I bet them. I like them. And I think I'm going to get paid with them. Let's move on. So that concludes the 7 p.m. games here. We're going to move on to the 7:30 p.m. games. And then we have the big one with UCLA. Of course, that is 8 p.m. And then we have some late games, a lot of Sun Belt action here to close up shop. We do close up shop with the Mountain West. Let's move over here. Get this off. I'm having some computer issues. Let's move over here. Okay, let's roll. We have at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Arkansas State Red Wolves, 21-9, 12-5 in the Sun Belt. At the UL Monroe Warhawks, 7-23, 3-14 in the Sun Belt. We're at Fant Ewing Coliseum in Monroe, Louisiana. See the situation set up here. One of the things that I find extremely telling. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. My computer's just losing its mind right now. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of this. Okay, maybe that should be enough here. Do I get rid of the injuries as well? Okay, let me get rid of this, and I should be good to go. Okay, here we go. So if we look at the record of Coastal Carolina, 3-14 in the Sun Belt, you have the exact same conference record for UL Monroe Warhawks, but you have 2 teams moving in very separate, very different situations. UL Monroe is coming off trying their absolute hardest at home against James Madison, putting everything on the table. This was just on Tuesday. They gave it their absolute best. They came back late in the game. They had a chance to win it. They shot the ball poorly as usual. They were 12.5-point dogs. They almost beat the leaders of the Sun Belt, the James Madison Dukes. And now they have to put it together again 3 days later against an Arkansas State Red Wolves team that's, beating their opponents by margin and just beat this UL Monroe squad 6 days ago, 95-70. Just beat them by 25 points at home. Then went into Louisiana, another bottom feeder, and beat them by 19. They're 1 game back of James Madison, and it's all go for them. All go. Let's pull up the line history for the situation here. We have the Arkansas State Red Wolves now minus 18.5. So this opens up at 16.5. Your first thought would be, well, we just watched Louisiana Monroe almost beat the team that's ahead of Arkansas State. We just watched them play with them at home, and there's Rebenga. This seems like too many points. Well, now we're at 18.5. Absolutely wild. The Red Wolves are enormous favorites. Imagine that the public thought the same thing as me. We have no information on the spread right now. We do know 57% of tickets, 60% of cash is on the over, and when we get to that over, it's 149 and a half, and that's where it opened. We've actually had 9 cents of movement on the over, so no action here for me. Spooner says Arkansas State won by 25 in the first match. The line was 22. 3-point move to the home. Nothing fishy. Broken record, but this Arkansas State has Alabama's lead recruiter. Not involved. Don't want to be involved in that one. Let's talk about the big game of the day today. Now, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot for these UCLA Bruins who head out onto the road. The last time we saw them head out east, that first game they played very well, losing 83-78 at Illinois. Remember, they got off to a horrible start. Illinois opened up like 13-14-0, 14-1, something like that, and then they bounced back. And then they went and beat Indiana. This is a UCLA team that's looking better and better. Yes, they no-showed versus Minnesota, which made myself and Wine Time a lot of cash. But then they beat Ohio State 69-61 just 5 days ago. Purdue has lost 4 straight games. They lose this game, they're out of the top 25. It's been a very surprising group of losses. They lose at Michigan 75-73. Then they lose at home to Wisconsin by 10. They head over to Michigan State and lose by 9. And then the Piece de Resistance, they lose by 15 at the Hoosiers. They've got to be an angry, angry basketball team. Gorky has moved on UCLA plus 5.5. Wine Time says he wants Purdue here. Let's grab the line history here with this and look at the cash flows. We're going to get all of the information. We have a Purdue UCLA total at 138.5. This has come down from 140.5. We've had a 2-point move to the under. For those of you looking to bet the total, interestingly enough, though, this dropped all the way down to 137.5 before we had the 1 point of buyback up to 138.5. Still, we have a 2-point move towards the under. When we get into the point spread here for this spot, UCLA now plus 6. They opened up plus 5.5. This moved to 5 at 7:30 in the morning, and now we have a 6. Half-point move towards the Boilermakers, who are an angry, angry group. Spooner says UCLA will force it down the whole game. Justin McKelvey, respect. I will copy and paste that. Purdue minus 5.5, Iowa plus 4, and Kent State plus 4. Spooner says Purdue has struggled against good big men. This game is won or lost by Purdue's guard play. And let's grab this. Gorky says, I bet teams, not spots. So that's, opposite of me. Says, I bet teams, not spots. Form matters. I hear that, Gorky. I get it. Wine Time, this is Wine Time's squad. He says, will they be a team to back in the tourney? Yes. Says UCLA's are so inconsistent. Will they be a team to back in the tourney? Yes. So let's grab the cash flow here for this spot. We have 58% of tickets and 63% of cash on UCLA. We have 65 and 64 on the over. Yeah, form matters, Gorky. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But this is an extremely angry Purdue Boilermakers team that's being destroyed in the press, coming off their worst game of the year in the midst of a 4-game losing streak. And the Bruins come to town. To me, that makes Purdue very appealing. Very appealing. But seeing you bullish on UCLA will certainly give me time to think about it. Wine Time saying Cronin coming off his 500th career win. I find Purdue appealing at this point. Billy Friedrich's going to lay the points. I'm going to need more time for the spot here. Certainly going to need more time. But I do find it quite appealing. Let's roll into our next spot on the board here, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have the James Madison Dukes. 20-10, 3-4 in the Sun Belt. At the Texas State Bobcats, 15-15, 8-9 in the Sun Belt. Restaurant Arena in San Marcos, Texas. We have heard from the squad that they believe that Texas State is, from a couple people, the best bet on the board. Let's take a closer look at this James Madison Texas State spot. My first instinct is, James Madison just no-showed at ULM. I don't like that. They're probably going to be a little more alert. I mean, if you want to go further, that was a poor performance against Georgia Southern. They've had a bunch of road performances that have been poor. Look at their last 3 road performances. They win by 6 against UL Monroe. Woo! Sorry about that. Sorry about that, fellas. I don't even see Jose backstage anymore. He is upset at me. He's very upset with me because I didn't even see him backstage there either. Okay, my computer's back. I don't know what happened. I apologize. Things shut down for me, but we are back. We are back in business. So we're going over the last few road games that James Madison's played. They go up to UL Monroe and win by 6, just 6. They go up to Coastal Carolina and win by just 1. They go to Georgia Southern and win by just 5. They are no showing on the road game after game after game. This is the 4th straight home game for the Bobcats. A really nice situation to be at. Spooner says Texas State is a team that has played to the level of their competition, better against good teams and worse versus weaker teams. I like Texas State here. The line is telling. Let's take a look here. This is the senior night for the Bobcats, and they have not faced the Dukes. They have not faced the Dukes this year. Interesting. Very, very interesting. B-Hawk says James Madison is the side. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have a pick'em. It's a fishy line. Texas State opens up at +1. Within 3 hours, they become the favorite at -1. Then they get back to +1.5, and even that goes away here now. I can understand why you find Texas State so appealing. Chang Kim in the house says, hey, Jimmy, if you had one top bet to put $250 on, what would it be? I would like to study it a little bit more, but I think it would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. I like the Stars too, though. And I would like to go through because there's some really blatant spots here in college basketball, I believe, here. So, but yeah, that is my thought is the Leafs. The Leafs going up against the Rangers missing their top 2 defensemen. That would be my thoughts. But I also really like the Stars. I would need to sit with that a little longer because there's a lot of these spots here in college basketball that I like as well. I can understand anybody looking at the Dukes at 20-10, 13-4 in the Sun Belt and think that they're the spot, But this line is telling. This market is telling. Let's get to the cash flow here. We have no information on the spread But we see exactly why this line has moved towards Texas State. You have 64% of the tickets on James Madison, but just 15% of the cash. I'm with you guys. I think you guys are right. I think the Bobcats are the spot here. But Wager Detective feeling the difference. He believes that it's JMU. Billy Friedrich, JMU. Robert Franklin on Texas State money line. This line is making no sense. It makes no sense. But Troy Torrance says fading the flippening is the way to go in college basketball. I am with you guys with Texas State. I think this is screaming at us here. But I would like to sit with it a little longer. Obviously, I'll have the chance. Final game of the conference standing. So this is an important one for James Madison. Or have they clinched the top of the Sun Belt? Because Arkansas State's going to win. So then you go to what happened when they were heads up with Arkansas State, right? And they beat Arkansas State 67-62 in their loading game with Arkansas State. So they have nothing to play for. Is that fair? But Billy Friedrich, those 3 road games, let's touch on them. This is a fascinating game. So let's just touch on these 3 road games here that they just played. So they barely beat UL Monroe as 12.5-point favorites. Barely beat them. They beat Coastal Carolina by 1 point as 8.5-point road favorites. And then they beat Georgia Southern by 5. Oh, they covered that one. 3.5-point favorites. Look, I can understand if you guys want to run here. Oh, and Spooner says Sun Belt 1 and 2 get the same treatment in the tournament. Here we have a game where James Madison has nothing to play for. Nothing. I think it's figured out why the line is the way it is. And I'm comfortable joining the boys, well, some of the boys on the Bobcats here. Let's roll into our next Sun Belt spot here. Georgia State, Georgia Southern. This is a fun matchup for us here. We have Georgia State right now sitting here off of a loss at Coastal Carolina, 80-74. They've lost 2 of their last 3. This is their 4th straight road game, a real tricky spot. Georgia Southern coming off beating App State. We were on Georgia Southern in that one, 61-59, getting the Rebenga. They had just faced James Madison in that 78-73 loss at James Madison. Georgia State not playing very good basketball. These are 2 very equal basketball teams, but Georgia Southern is a pretty clear favorite in this one. These teams met at Georgia State back on January 8th. It was an 82-78 overtime win for Georgia State. Georgia State were 2.5-point favorites. So they've gone from 2.5-point favorites to 5.5-point dogs. Another real monster swing here. Okay, sorry. Troy said it's not like I love James Madison. I'm just saying the flippening has been good for road teams. No, I feel you. So we've got this now as a 6. Georgia Southern -6. They opened up at 4.5. This was the same line movement with the LIU game. If I had just joined LIU late at 6, I would have had a winning day and not a day where I lost VIG and went 8-1. The market has made Georgia State a bigger favorite than one would imagine, and now they're even Georgia Southern bigger favorite, and now they're even bigger favorites. The pig milk play of the day, though, is Georgia State plus 5.5. What wild movement here. It's just, why would Georgia Southern be this big of a favorite? Let's take a look at the cash flow in this spot. We have nothing on the spread, so we have no help. 52-50 on the over. Wow. Pig milk play today is not something you want to go up against. But I do find the size of how big they are as a favorite extremely appealing here. Okay, man, Bear Pig. Yeah. Everything's changed here. But I never had a problem when we were in Costa Rica. Let me know though if you continue. Everything's changed here because it's all legal. You get paid immediately and everything, because they're all legal books here in Ontario. Billy Friend says if it keeps moving towards Georgia Southern, I'll add another unit to Georgia State. Wow, a wild. Okay, so he's bullish here. Let's roll on. Next stop, we stay in the Sun Belt for our next spot. 8 p.m. Eastern with the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, 11-19, 8-9 Sun Belt at the South Alabama Jaguars, 20-10, 12-5 in the Sun Belt. South Alabama playing very good basketball right now. Let's take a look at this spot here. The Ragin' Cajuns coming off the demolishing by Arkansas. They got crushed by Arkansas State at home. It was a very, very ugly performance. It was their senior night, and they lost 83-64. That stopped a 3-game winning streak. They were playing, the Ragin' Cajuns had been playing much better basketball. And South Alabama had just finished a 93-92 overtime victory at Texas State, loss at Texas State, and they they didn't really beat up. I mean, Southern Miss is a weak basketball team that they just barely got by 88-82. But that's 3 straight road games for South Alabama, and now they get to come home. Last time we saw them at home were back-to-back overtime wins over Texas State and Marshall. Nothing too impressive. You have to think that the Ragin' Cajuns are an angry group after that loss. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Also, of course, we need to know what happened the first time these two teams met. We have the 62-58 loss for the Ragin' Cajuns at home to South Alabama in overtime. Interesting. South Alabama right now is sitting... Sorry, let me get the spread up here. I don't know. It's sitting minus 13.5. Here's another spread that you would look at and say, this is too many points. These teams just played in an overtime basketball game. The last 2 times we saw South Alabama at home, it took overtime for them to get a victory. And here they are minus 12.5, and it moves to 13.5. Just as fishy as you could imagine. Let's get to the total here with this one. We have this total at 135.5. It's minus 113 to the over. This has climbed up from 134.5. And when we get to the cash flow, we have all the information. This line's moving towards South Alabama with only 24% of the tickets on them. 24% of the tickets and 69% of the cash is on South Alabama. 56 and 58 on the over. Market telling us that this line is not big enough. This does not appeal to me. It does not appeal to me at all. Shout out to Chris Warren in the house. If I had a free bet, I would have to say that Southern Miss is going to smash and grab here back home. Leonard Porter Jr., he knows these Ragin' Cajuns well, says bad mental spot for the Cajuns. Whole city celebrating Mardi Gras while they wonder how much fun they're missing. Wow. Wow, Leonard. What an angle there. That's a thing of beauty. Let's get that copied and pasted here. What a thing of beauty from Leonard Porch Jr. Wow, doesn't that make Southern Alabama more appealing? God, such a big line, though. Wow, that's a thing of beauty. That's an absolutely beautiful angle, Leonard. I love it. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. This one's 8:30 p.m. Eastern with the Troy Trojans, 19-10, 12-5 in the Sun Belt at the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. We just talked about how weak they are in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The Golden Eagles 10-25-12 in the Sun Belt. We're at Reed Green Coliseum here for this one. Troy coming off back-to-back wins. They won at Texas State 74-69. That came on the heels of them demolishing Coastal Carolina at home. It was a big bounce back for them as they had lost at home to the Ragin' Cajuns 72-69 previous to that. They also beat Southern Miss 70-61. It wasn't a, too dominating of a victory, 70-61. They were 11.5-point favorites. They didn't cover. They were up 13 at halftime, and I guess they just took their foot off the gas because they were also up 63-38. They were up 63-38 with 8.5 minutes left and didn't cover. And that's the problem with these big favorites here. That was just on January 27th, but they're clearly the superior squad here. Let's take a look at the situation for Southern Miss. Let's get this up here. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button there. We have the Golden Eagles here in the throes of a monster losing streak, but they've been looking a little better. They only lost by 6 at home to Southern Alabama. Then they lost by 2 to Louisiana. So, not so bad. This is their seniors night for Southern Miss, a top seniors night to have. But Chris Warren backs them here on seniors night. Let's get into the line history here for this one. This totals a 144.5. It's minus 120 to the over. It opened up at 144. We've climbed just a half point. Let's get to the point spread here for this one. On a point spread scenario, we have Southern Miss plus 10 right now. They opened up at 9, a 1-point move towards Troy. This is not appealing to me. If this was down to an 8, I would think, Southern Miss is live here. But I don't find it appealing enough to move on. So let's roll on. Let's roll on to Big Ten basketball. It's almost time for NBA. We have just 4 games left here on the college basketball breakdown. So we're through 18 games. I think there's a lot of really nice money-making situations here for us. Let's roll. Iowa Hawkeyes 15-13, 6-11 in the Big Ten. Northwestern Wildcats 15-13, 6-11 in the Big Ten as well. We're at Welsh Ryan Arena in Evanston, Illinois, for these two teams with the exact same record here. Now, Northwestern looked very strong the last 2 games. They beat Ohio State 70-49 at Ohio State. It was shocking. And they followed that up by going to Minnesota and beating them by 12. Maybe Northwestern is finding themselves in time to possibly win some games in the Big Ten Conference tournament. Iowa coming off a 20-point loss at Illinois. The last time we saw them on the road before that, they lost by 26 at Maryland. Does anybody trust the Hawkeyes on the road? That would be the question to ask. These Northwestern Wildcats have not faced Iowa this year. So they have not faced Iowa this year, and they're playing their best basketball of the season. Now, both of them came on the road. Let's take a look. Rick J says, thinking of taking Northwestern minus 4.5, but Iowa money line for Billy Friedrich. And by the way, Christopher Warren saying after a rough start, Southern Miss has played better in their home, and it is seniors night. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have the Northwestern Wildcats right now -4 and -106. They opened up at -4 at -108. They got up to -5. This was -5 from 7:30 in the morning till 9:30 in the morning, and then we're back at a 4. So we've had no movement toward Northwestern after those really 2 impressive road performances. From a total scenario, we have Northwestern Iowa 150.5. It's juiced to the under at -114. This is dropped from 151.5. Ricky Bobby looking at Northwestern as well. Let's take a look at the cash flow. We should get information. We have it. 50% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on Northwestern. So why was there a point of buyback? 75 and 77 on the over. This is fishy. This makes me uncomfortable. Something's up. This does not. I do not find this an appealing spot to back Northwestern, even though they've looked so good in those last 2 road games. Something is up. I'm going to be off of that spot. Let's roll on here to our next spot. We're going to go back to the Sun Belt. We have the Sun Belt in the MAC, and then we close things off in the Mountain West. 3 games left here on today's card. Next up for us is App State Marshall thundering Herd Marshall, a short home favorite. We have App State coming off a loss to Marshall at home, 69-59. That was followed up with a loss at Georgia Southern, 61-59. They've lost 3 of their last 4. Marshall's now won 3 straight games. Let's go back to that 69-59 victory for Marshall at App State. App State just shot 20.8% from 3, just 36.7% from the field. They did not look good. They were 3.5-point home favorites, and they failed to menace and lost by 10. Let's take a look at this spot here for Marshall. Winners of 3 straight games. They're coming off demolishing Old Dominion, and this is their seniors night. So, it's interesting when we talk about seniors night, whether it's important here. I think it can be really important to the road team. I think there's nothing more than App State would want than to go to Huntington, West Virginia, to go to the Cam Henderson Center and to smash not smash, but beat Marshall here. I find that an appealing angle. You could say that this line's lower than what would be expected. This total is at 136.5. It's come up from 134.5. It is slightly juiced to the under. That's a pretty big move towards the over. On the point spread here, we have Marshall -4. They opened up at 3.5, and this was a 2.5. This was a 2.5 before the show started, and now it's a 4. So we had a half-point move overall towards Marshall. That is strange and wild and confusing. We don't have any information on the spread. 71% of tickets, 71% cash on Marshall. That is not appealing enough for me here. Not appealing enough. College Station, thank you for your NBA action. Copied and pasted. We'll discuss it when we talk NBA with Wine Time Sports, which is happening here in just a few minutes. By the way, Wine Time saying that he wanted Northwestern but hasn't moved on it. I'm uncomfortable with the spot here. I lean towards App State, but I'm certainly going to leave question marks beside it here. Let's roll on. We head back to the MAC here, the second to last spot on the card. Let's get this one set up for you. We have the Kent State Golden Flashes, 19-9, 9-6 in the MAC. At the Akron Zips, 22-6, 14-1 in the MAC. We're at James A. Rhodes Arena in Akron, Ohio. Let's get this Kent State Akron game all set up and see if there are moves to make. Kent State bounced back in a major way from that overtime loss at Miami, Ohio, by pulverizing Toledo by 40 points. That makes me want to fade them. Akron bounced back from that loss at Ohio, 84-67. Of course, Akron at the top. These two teams have so much history against each other. Akron bounced back after that win, 84-67, by taking out Ball State 87-82 on the road. Ball State played them very, very tough. These teams, as we said, have a rich history of playing against each other. Kent State looked bad at home versus Akron. I remember it well. It was January 31st. I was on Kent State. I thought that they'd be able to fire in this spot, and they certainly didn't. They got destroyed from the beginning of the game till the end of the game. They shot 24% from three. I wonder, does Kent State have something for the Zips here? Can Kent State show that they belong in the mix at the top of the conference here? Let's take a look at the line history. Lex Steele on App State money line there says App State is the play of the day. Yes, Kent State is in Akron here for this one. Akron just 4-point favorites. That's a very fishy line. The +4 for Kent State's gone from -108 to -115. I mean, that's just as fishy as one could imagine. Let's get to the total here for this one. On the total, we have a 156. It's -116 to the under. It's opened up a 155 with a 1-point move towards the over. Spooner says 10 miles between these two schools. The school itself is in Akron, yes. Let's get into we have no information. But come on, how fishy is this line? Yes, Kent State market, I agree with you, BJ. Billy Friedrich says this line should be much wider. Something's up. Kent State's going to play hard in this one after no showing at home. Just have to have the balls to take them at just a +4, which I believe I have. Rick J moved on Akron last night, -4. I get it. Wager Detective seeing it a different way, which is fine. It is always open. When you're reading a market, the market can be read very differently by one capper to the next. I read this market and I think that the books are going to get a ton of Akron money. A ton. And they think Kent State's live to win this game outright. Let's move on to our last spot on the board before we are joined by Wine Time Sports for a huge NBA card, a beautiful NBA card here. Our final spot on the board is in the Mountain West. It's a beauty. I want to have Friday night action on 11 p.m. Eastern. We have the Nevada Wolfpack, 16-12, 8-9 in the Mountain West at the UNLV Running Rebels. UNLV Running Rebels, 15-13, 9-8 in the Mountain West. We're at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have Nevada right now coming off a win, a blowout win. I was on them first half and full game at home versus Wyoming. They were an angry group. They'd lost to Colorado State. at Colorado State by 8. They lost at home to Boise State by 1. And they took it out on Wyoming, a real weak opponent. And then we have UNLV coming off just a 6-point win at San Jose State. They're also lost at home in their last home performance to Colorado State. We have Nevada and UNLV. Nevada 1 game back of UNLV here in the conference standings, both just behind Boise State. We have a matchup between these two. Nevada won at home, 71-65. They took out UNLV. Of course, these teams are rivals. They took them out by 6. Nevada was 5.5-point favorites, and they took care of business. By the way, UPK Yashila says, I'm high on Kent State, but give me Akron in this spot. I hate betting between two teams that make me money, but give me Akron. Rick J moved on Nevada last night at -1.5. Let's take a look at the total. This total right now is at 133.5. It's -113 to the under. This opened up at 133.5. It's back at 133.5. We have a 3-point move to the under. That's it. Just a 3-point move to the under. Let's get to the point spread. On the point spread, we have Nevada -2 and -107. Being a half-point move towards Nevada. There hadn't been a move at all. Oh, I guess there had been. Sorry. Opened up at -1.5. Did move to 2.5. Went back to 1.5. Now it's at 2. Half-point move towards the Wolfpack. Let's get to the cash flow. All we have is money line and total information. 61% of tickets, 63% of cash on the money line for the Wolfpack. And the line slightly moving in their direction. 88 and 88 on the over. This is a trickier situation than I thought, because I was gravitating towards UNLV, but it's a fishy line. I think I'm pretty comfortable staying off this. This was an extremely close game the first time these two teams met. I would lean towards UNLV delivering Rebenga here is where I would lead, but I'm nervous. And Rick J liking the Nevada Wolfpack to begin with makes me comfortable staying off at this point. Let's review all action here. Wager Detective says syndicates and LBJ money pushing money towards Kent State to crush that -4.5. Where are you getting that information? I'd love to know it. I'd love to know it. Oh, is there a site or is there something where you're getting that information from, Wager Detective? Would love to know it. So if you could let us know, that'd be great. Okay, it is time to review all college basketball here. I've moved on 4 spots, and there are going to be some additions for me. I have Brown -110 on the money line, and then I have Dartmouth. I have Dartmouth here at +9.5 at -113. Yeah, I know that LeBron James from Akron. What did you think about it? Or was it a joke? Maybe it was just a joke. Maybe it was just joking. Then we've heard a lot of cappers on the chips. We have NCAA play today on Ron Crawford, Marist +1.5. I have interest in Niagara and interest in Manhattan. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on those spots. I moved on Sacred Heart -1, and then I moved on the Coastal Carolina -1. The Fairfield I have interest in backing, and I have interest in Purdue, but I have all of the notes from Billy Friedrich and others here. Gorky also, Billy Friedrich's notes are on the next game, on the other game, but I've got Gorky's notes here for the Purdue UCLA spot. Justin McKelvey moved on Iowa +4 and Kent State +4. Texas State 4 is a very appealing spot for me. And then so is Georgia Southern. I have some interest in App State, but a ton of questions by it. Kent State, I'm very, very interested in. No, I feel you, Wager Detective. I just thought, I guess, were you joking with the syndicates pushing money towards Kent State to crush that 4.5? Just because this is all about information. Our show's all about information. We have Spooner's action here. Brown moneyline, Dartmouth moneyline, Texas State moneyline, Kent State +4.5 for a Morgan Spooner. All right, it's time to get into NBA here. Time to get into NBA. It was a disjointed night for me last night. The main issue was I didn't move on the Milwaukee Bucks. That was upsetting. I felt like they were a little bit public, and I ended up staying off of them. So I went 1-1-1. I pushed the Magic +6. Very disappointing push. I did cash on them live. I forget the number I got. I could probably get it right here. Sorry, I my bets. They did take care of me live. I got the Magic +9.5 live, which cashed. I have a number of 5. I need to get 5 points better than what the line was. I'm surprised I moved on the 9.5. I was a little surprised that I did. I lost on the Timberwolves. Of course, we'll discuss that. And got ejected, and he won't be able to play today unless they appeal, which I don't think they have. And then the move on the Pelicans was a smash and grab. So let's roll in the NBA. We have just the man for the job. An impressive season. He's putting together 3.56% ROI, but we need to grow that. We have very, very similar numbers this year, except his average line at +106 has worked for him very, very well. Much love, Billy Friedrich, my friend. Please welcome from Los Angeles, California, our guy, Wine Time Sports. Wine Time, what's good, man? How are you?
Jimmy, happy Friday, my guy. Good to be here talking the NBA with you. Great show so far. Broke that NCAA basketball card down wonderfully. There's only 2 games I actually looked at in that one, so great job breaking that one down. I'm excited to break this NBA card down. I have 3 plays so far. A lot of games I want to cap with you, though, and the rest of the chat and hear what you guys have to say in some of these spots. Good card today, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm coming off a couple bad days, so 1-3 day for me. The only thing I hit was the LeBron James over 24.5 points. That Magic, I still pissed off about that game yesterday, Jim, but we get by it. We're back today, and I'm ready to get to
it. Let's roll. No, I feel you, Wage Detective. I feel you, man. No hard feelings at all. It's all good. Let's move on to NBA. I told you guys yesterday, as soon as the show was over, I was betting the Pistons. Would it have been better if the Nuggets had have won? Sure. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. There has been a move back towards the Nuggets. We have our guy, Justin McKelvey, on the Nuggets. Right now, this opened up -1 at -112 for the Pistons. They got up to -2. It was -2 at -107 at 142 this morning. That looks like it could be the high water mark. We've come back to a -1.5. The Nuggets are just a public team. That's why it surprised me a little bit that the Bucks had about a 60% share of the action last night, which ended up getting me off, unfortunately. So this money line's at -120. I got it at -105 as soon as the show was over yesterday at 365. This opened here offshore a little after midnight at -117. Got up to -124, and now we're at -119. We've had a 2-cent move towards at this point towards the Pistons. When we get to the cash flow here for this one, we have, let's move over here. Sorry. We have 61% of tickets, 62% of cash on the spread on the Denver Nuggets. I like seeing that. On the money line, it's very similar. 58% of tickets, 62% of cash on the Denver Nuggets. And then on the total, we have 70% of tickets, 71% cash on the over. Chris Warren says, y'all know I love the Pistons, but I will pass today. I'm scared. Member Pig says, Pistons are great, but Nuggets are just a far better basketball team. No reason Pistons should be favored, in my opinion. Backwood. Oh, I think that I would have put the Pistons -2.5. They're winning. They're winning by margin. They're winning easily, and they care about it. They haven't had an 8-game winning streak in 17 years. Detroit cares about it. The city cares about it. This is a team that's lost and lost and lost and lost, and now they've finally broken through, and it means a ton to them. And the Nuggets on the second half of a back-to-back don't scare me. In fact, if this was if they weren't on a back-to-back, I would be on the Pistons here as well, because something special is happening in Detroit.
Yep.
And that shit carries over, and it carries over for a city that needs it and for a team that's being a perennial doormat. I just think this is huge. Does Jokic care? that the Pistons are on an 8-game winning streak? I've got the answer for you. No, he doesn't care. They don't care at all. They're not thinking, oh, we got to stop this Detroit run. They couldn't care less about what's happening in Detroit. Right now, everybody's supposed to be good. Everybody's supposed to be in the lineup for the Nuggets. Schroeder is a game-time decision right now, but he's listed as probable with the ankle injury. He missed Wednesday's game against the Celtics, so probably be nice having him in just to change pace when you want to. If I coached Schroeder, he'd play 15 minutes a game. I would just go in there and change the pace. That's it. The guy just clearly is disliked by every room he's ever been in. Fontecchio is also listed as probable here for the Pistons. Another part of this is that this isn't house money. I cashed on the Pistons against the Celtics. Now, Wine Time had them on the money line. I just had them on the spread. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, look, I'm just going to put the profit in play. No, I sincerely believe that the Pistons will comfortably take out the Nuggets here and continue this run that they're on. Nuggets are on the second half back-to-back after falling 121-112 in Milwaukee last night. Detroit comes in off their 8th straight win. It was emphatic, 117-97 victory at home over Boston on Wednesday. This is the first of a back-to-back for them. They host the Blazers tomorrow night. Take it away for us here, Wine Time. Nuggets, Pistons.
Yeah, Detroit, a team I've been backing, especially lately, man. They're playing really well. We had them on, I believe it was plus 160 on Wednesday. Got it done. They were in control of that entire game. Over the reigning champs. So like you touched on, something special is happening over there in Detroit right now. The team loves playing with each other. This is the first year coach with them. I'm just absolutely crazy, man. Cade Cunningham just playing some really good basketball, and they've got a lot of guys that are playing good complementary basketball with them. Nuggets, I was on them last night. Disappointing, kind of were behind the entire game. Kind of got it together a little bit, but they really didn't look that good. And Denver's they've been kind of an inconsistent team down the stretch here lately. They're a team that's definitely going to be there when it matters most. They're going to be a team that's going to be tough to beat in a 7-game series. But I also think Detroit's going to be tough to beat in a 7-game series when it comes to playoff time, especially the way they're playing right now, man. They're rocking and rolling over there. Friday night in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena. I think they're going to be rocking and rolling. This is one of the games I haven't moved on yet, but right now I can get Detroit Pistons minus 1.5. But I'm not even. I don't even know if I should just go with the money line minus 120. I'm gonna give out the minus 1.5 though, minus 110. I'm gonna give that out. I think Pistons are gonna take care of business here. We're seeing the public come in and take Denver after they came in on a loss against Milwaukee yesterday, as they should. Denver, as I said, they've been a strong team every single year, last couple of years. Murray said that him and Jokic were the best 1-2 punch in all of basketball recently. They believe in themselves, but I like what Detroit's going. I like what's happening in Detroit right now. I like watching them play. These games I'm very interested in. I watched that entire game. I like watching them play. And I'm going to take them here. This is a game I haven't moved on officially. So best number available. I can get a minus 1.5. So that's what I'm going to give out minus 1.5, minus 110 here for Detroit. I think they're going to take care of business here. It's going to be 9 in a row here at home at Little Caesars Arena. They're going to take care of business.
I love it. I love the spot. I love, trying to figure out when does Jokic care? Because when he cares, they're going to win. I don't think the Nuggets care less about what's happening in Detroit. I don't think they want to be in Detroit. I think it's going to be freezing cold. They're going to be pissed off. Second half of back-to-back. They couldn't care less. I really feel that way. So we'll see how it bangs out. This isn't the 3rd and 4 nights. It's not. There's a lot of teams in the 3rd and 4 nights that are on the second half back-to-back, which is an even worse situation. But the Nuggets had a couple days off before this back-to-back. Look, this means everything to Detroit. Everything. And having Jokic come on the floor, that means everything to Jalen Duren. Look, if the Nuggets step up on the second half, the vividness bias, saturated saying, I do not want to fade the Nuggets as a short dog. This is different. What's happening in Detroit right now, I believe, is different. It's just,
if you're watching their game, if you guys are watching their games closely, like something special is going on over there. They're playing as a team. It's really fun to watch their games. Like, it's crazy to say that, like watching Detroit Pistons basketball, but it's going to be it's the first game of the slate too. It's going to be 4:00 out here. I'm looking forward to that being the first game I'm going to watch. Detroit's going to take care of business here. They're putting the league on watch right now, man. This is going to be a tough team to beat, especially in a 7-game series. So I like the Pistons here. This is a good spot for them.
I don't just like it. I love a non-conference opponent. I mean, that's just a non-conference opponent couldn't give a fuck. You think the Nuggets could care less? They don't care what's happening in Detroit. There's nothing. There's not even an ounce of care. And then they're going up against a team where this means everything. Have you ever fought somebody that you didn't care about that despised you? I have. And he beat me up. He was quite a bit bigger than me. But he hated me so much, and I couldn't have cared less. There was a huge group around us. I was getting huge laughs, making fun of him, and he was just sitting there like he was just sitting there like he hated. He was just building up the hatred for me, the anger for me. The Nuggets couldn't care less, and this means everything to Detroit. So, I don't know. Let's roll on.
I just tweeted it out. Detroit Pistons -1.5, -110.
I love this spot. I can't wait for the game. I'm right with you. Let's roll on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Oklahoma City Thunder 47-11, 21-7 on the road at the Atlanta Hawks, 27-32, 13-14 at home. We're at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Oklahoma City coming off an underwhelming 129-121 win at Brooklyn on Wednesday. This is game 2 of a 3-game trip. Atlanta comes in off its 4th loss in 5 games, 131-109 at Miami on Wednesday. Let's take a look at the line history and the setup here for this one. It was such an underwhelming performance by the Thunder. You know, the last 2 times I bet the Thunder, the first time I didn't cover the first half and then covered the full game, but got in live on a real cheap money line. Then the same thing happened again. I don't cover the first half. I don't cover the full game either. I got in cheap on a money line. The only problem is I screwed it up by taking the Brooklyn Nets team total under live as well at 116.5, which didn't come to fruition. This is an interesting spot here. No Caruso, which means you don't need to watch those horrific threes. Chet is questionable due to a right calf, contusion here. It was a late addition to the injury report. So Kenrich Williams would get a lot more run here. Well, no, Jalen Williams would get a lot more run as well. So that's the situation for OKC. Krejci and Nance out still. And then Trae Young is expected to play. He's probable with the Achilles injury. So Trae Young expected to be in the lineup. Lil Domo says, in my opinion, the way OKC's been playing, I'm cool with taking them live again. A bet last game as well. They're starting slow. I'm going to keep taking advantage of it. I like that. The shit my sheets play today for Man Bear Pig is Hawks money line. Got it at plus 500. We're now down to plus 390. The shit my sheets play of the day from our guy Man Bear Pig on these Hawks. Let's get into the line history for this spot. Oops, I got money line up. Let me just quickly move over to the point spread. Atlanta plus 11, minus 103. They opened up plus 12.5, 1.5 move towards Atlanta. Again, these out of conference games. I mean, the Thunder could not care less. Like, they just don't care. Who cares about Friday night in Atlanta? I mean, that's why I love Denver, Detroit so much. If this was an Eastern Conference team or a division team going up against Detroit, I would be in a very different situation, feeling very different. But Denver coming out second half back-to-back in Detroit, what do they care? They don't care. This total opened up at 241, has climbed all the way up to 245. Kong says, at what point do you fade the winning streak? Look, this is a team here in a city here that needs this so badly. Why would I want this winning streak is going to go on? I'll be concerned against divisional rivals, and I'll be concerned against conference rivals. But any team from the Western Conference is not going to care at all. It's my belief. And look, we all cap differently, and it's just that's my belief here. Let's get into the cash flow. We know it's a 4-point move to the over and a 1.5 move towards the Atlanta Hawks. When we get to the cash flow here, it's a 50-50 proposition, basically. 54% of the tickets on the Hawks and 55% of the cash. 65% of the tickets and 70% cash on the over. Robert Franklin says, did I say shit my sheets? Yes. Man Bear Pig, it's his shit my sheets play today. Take it away for us, Wine Time Thunder Hawks.
Yeah, I love this play, Jim. I wish I would have gotten on this number earlier. I got in about, I tweeted out, I think like 30 or 40 minutes ago. I'm on the over. Let me quiet that. Over 244 minus 110. My book moved it up to 245 minus 110. I'd love to see that. I'm not sure where it is everywhere else, but they're moving it up. I think it's going to get up to 246, potentially 246 and a half. This is going to be the highest total on the board. These Fridays have been successful taking these high totals. Haven't been doing it lately. This was a spot I looked at. There's another spot on the board that has a similar total. I believe it's the Knicks game, but that line actually moved down to the under, which I don't like to see. So I'm not going to take that over. I'm going to take this over today. I think this is going to be a very high pace of game. These guys are it's going to be hard to stop each other. I almost want to take the Hawks here, honestly, because OKC Thunder, I just haven't really liked what I've been seeing from them the last couple of games going down the stretch. And these are the games I've actually been watching of theirs. Didn't watch a lot of OKC basketball throughout the season. They've just been blowing everyone out. And been watching those last couple of games. Haven't really liked what I've been seeing. The Hawks, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win here, but it's Friday night in the ATL. They're 5 games under 500. They're trying to get into that play-in tournament. This game, I think they're going to want to win this game. And I'm not saying they will. I'm not even going to take them because I just think that 11.5 points is just a lot of points in Atlanta. You know what I mean? In a hostile place, their fans show out for these kind of games. It just seems like a lot of points, and it almost seems too good to be true with the Hawks, if you ask me. But at the same time, OKC's been laying minus 15, minus 17 on a regular basis. So this is nothing for them to cover. But I'm on the over 244 minus 110. That's the play I like in this one. I do think the Hawks can hang tight here, at least for 3 quarters. Maybe in that fourth quarter, the Thunder start breaking away. They end up winning this game by 15 or 16 points. But I think at halftime, this live total is going to be around the 254 area. So I think I honestly want to move on the first half over as well. I might get there. We'll see. I've already lost some value on it because I got to 244. Now it's 245 full game. But at the same time, I think this is going to go way over. So I don't even think I need to worry about that. But over 244 minus 110 is my play in this one.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot. Wager Detective also on the Nuggets. It's going to be a fun game. Fun game. You know, the Thunder have had 2 very underwhelming games in a row. I'm nervous about poking the bear here. Because I would like to be on the Hawks too, but the Thunder can't keep playing. But then it's an out of conference game late February. So it's not like they're, it's not like they're playing a rival, And they also, got into Atlanta last night, went to the strip club, which would make me want to fade them. It makes me want to fade them. I have some interest in the Hawks at this number, but then I know why. It's just because I just watched them not cover a couple games in a row.
Exactly. That's my thing, Jim. And I know how Atlanta, they show out to their Friday night games. It seems like they play every single Friday night in Atlanta this last month or two. I think they're going to play well here tonight. I'm not saying they're going to beat them outright, but this is a lot of points for Atlanta, a team that's still fighting to try to make the playoffs. They've got a decent head coach over there. They're trying to fight to get their way into the play-in tournament at least. Not saying they will, but that's still in the back of their minds that they have a chance. You got the best team in the Western Conference coming into town on a Friday night. Maybe it's the Trey show. You said he was questionable in this one?
No, probable now.
Okay, he's good. Yeah, if Trey Young's playing in this one, I think this is too many points, honestly. I'm not going to move on it yet, though. I'm going to see where this goes. I like that I beat some of this movement on the total. I wish I would have gotten at the 243 when I saw it earlier, but didn't get in on it. I still like the 244. I like the 245, honestly. I like the 250. This is going over 250 if you ask me.
I like it. I think I'm going to stay off of the spot. I can understand why the Hawks would be appealing here. Wager Detective saying Nuggets 9-1 last 10 versus Detroit. The Pistons went 14-68 last year. Are you going to be able to find a trend where they were successful? Is there such a trend that exists against any team in the NBA? I'll get your answer. No, of course not. They've been doormats. Every single trend will be against them. Every single trend. Let's roll on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Cavaliers 48-10, 21-6 on the road at the Boston Celtics 42-17, 18-10 at home at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Let's get into this spot here. We've already heard from Dan Kelly. He is backing his Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland Boston totals 233.5. This opened up at 231.5. It's climbed up to 233.5. From a point spread perspective, we have Cleveland +2 at -103. They opened up at 2.5. We've had a half-point move towards them. Let's get to the cash flow. From a cash flow standpoint, we have on the spread 58% of tickets, 60% cash on the Cavs. On the money line, 47% of tickets, 58% cash on the Cavs. And on the total, 78 and 77 on the over. So, yeah, look, wager. This is all fun. Like, there's times where the lack of sleep, because I literally, from 5 to 8 p.m., maybe 8:30, I'm a dad. The rest of the time, I'm capping, and I get maybe 4 hours of sleep, maybe. So I get I emote just because of exhaustion, and things slip my mind, like my son Jose, because of exhaustion. But here, I think that Dan Kelly is right with the Caps, and the biggest angle here for me is this is the third game in 4 nights for the Celtics. I mean, this is not, they come in off having their 6-game winning streak snapped in a 117-97 loss to Detroit. Maybe they were looking at this Celtics game and overlooking the Pistons. The Cavs coming off their 8th straight win, 122-82 at Orlando on Tuesday. And they want everyone to know that they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. And here's an interesting angle for me. I don't think the Celtics care that much. Why would they care that much? They're convinced they're the best team in the league. They're the defending NBA champions. And the Cavaliers, this means the world to them and the world to the city. So Trinity says it would make it easier if Boston didn't just lose by 20. I don't know. I lean toward yes. I guess the Cavs winning by 40 and the Celtics losing by 20 is probably not the right situation, but I kind of want to look past it because it's the third game in 4 nights for an older Celtics team. We have 3 guys listed as game time decisions. We'll go through them. Cornette, questionable, and he is helpful. Drew is questionable with the finger injury, right finger injury. And then we have Brown is questionable, but he was at shoot around this morning. So Brown will be in this one. For the Cavs, they're as healthy as they possibly could be, and they still are out there trying to prove to everybody. Take it away for us here, Wine Time, the big game on the board. Cavaliers, Celtics, and Lil Domo says can't pass up on Boston this cheap. That's exactly why I wanted the Cavs, because Boston is so cheap at home. But look, the Cavaliers have a better road record than Celtics have home record. Take it away for us, Wine Time, the big one on the board. TD Garden in Boston hosting Cavaliers, Celtics.
Yeah, shout out to my guy, Nasty Nate. I'm sure he's in the building listening to this. He's probably going to be watching this game closely. This is going to be a good one.
If he was watching this, he would be firing shots and nonstop. So he's not watching. I can tell you he's not watching. If you're drinking water at the Southtown 101 comfortably, that means that Nasty Nate's not in the bar. All right? I mean, and if you're talking negatively about the Celtics and no horrifying things are being said about you, it means Nasty Nate's not watching. Take it away.
This gym right here is a potential preview of the Western Conference Championship or the Eastern Conference Championship, man. You got the reigning champion Celtics and the Cavaliers, man, just rocking and rolling all season long this year. Great work that they've been doing over there in Cleveland, man. First-year head coach, and he's got a really good team led by Donovan Mitchell. They got Darius Garland. They got Mobley. They got a good team over there in Cleveland. Boston, I think this line is priced correctly. That's why I can't give out a play in this one because it's who do you like better in this game, I think. Who do you think's the better team? Yeah, Boston has some home field advantage here, home court advantage on a Friday night. But Cleveland just playing with so much heart this season. Watching them play against the Grizzlies last Sunday, him and Bane getting at each other. Mitchell kind of lit a fire under him, and I think he's just going to continue to play well. I think he's going to have a big game here on this Friday night. But I wanted to take the Cavaliers originally, but it's just hard to fade the Celtics too. It's hard to fade the Celtics in general, but to do it 2 games in a row and to do it potentially on the money line in both games, when the Celtics are the favorites, it's tough for me to do here. It's going to be a fun game. This very deservedly so is the ESPN game, but this is probably the game that I won't be paying too much attention to. I'll be paying attention to the score, but I'm not going to be actually watching this because I'll have so much other action in the games. But this is the best game of the board tonight. Like, if you're a strictly basketball fan, this is the game you guys want. My question is, what team do you like better here? It's tough, man. It's really tough here. So I can't really make a case for either one of these teams. I think this is priced correctly, and it's going to be a good game no matter what. So whoever has action in this game, good luck.
Wine time. I'm not trying to push you in any direction, but isn't there? I believe that there's one elephant in the room in this basketball game, and that's that this is the 3rd game in 4 nights for the Boston Celtics. They were in Toronto, slight flight to Detroit. Then we have the day off, and then the or not day off. What am I talking about? Yeah, let me look here. Sorry. They have. I don't know why that's dated wrong there, isn't it? Sorry, I've been tripping in my head. Why do I feel like? Yeah, because that was Wednesday. I'm tripping. Sorry, but it's a 3rd game in 4 nights. So they're in Toronto on the 25th. They fly out that night. They fly to Detroit. They play the Pistons and lose by 20. Then they fly home, and they have to get ready immediately for a team that cares so much about beating them. How much do the Celtics care? They're certain they're going to beat them in the playoffs.
The motivational factor, it's got to be the Cavs, because the Cavs are facing the defending champions. They want to send them that is a good angle. They want to send a message to these guys like, we're the new big dogs of the Eastern Conference, and we're going to take you out in 7. Boston, if they lose this game, they're going to say, see you in the playoffs. You know what I mean? You guys better get there when we're there in the Eastern Conference Finals. If you guys want to start,
their last loss at home against the Celtics, 112-105. That's the last Cleveland loss. They've won 8 straight since then, and now they get another chance against the Celtics when they have a huge, and I think this is huge, rest advantage. They played on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
I
am going to bet the Cleveland Cavaliers here to take out the Detroit Pistons in a game. I think that means so much more to one team. And so I honestly, I don't think the Celtics care that much. And I could be so wrong, but I really don't think that they care that much. North Ender says, but did they look ahead last game? Rested Brown and lost by 20? Yeah, maybe they did. Because they're kind of hurting. They're kind of banged up squad. Look, I'm rolling with Dan here. I'm on the Cavs. I think the Cavs win their 9th straight basketball game here this evening. Shout out to Dan Kelly. Look, these cities, Cleveland and Detroit, need this so badly. They need it so badly. I like where I stand. We'll see how it bangs out. We move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Portland Trail Blazers 26-33, 10-19 on the road at the Brooklyn Nets. 21-37, 9-19 at home. Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Robert Franklin says Celtics -2.5. Just got their cheeks clapped. Thinks Boston sends a message. I mean, I think they sent a message 9 days ago. They went into Cleveland. They beat them 112-105. Now they're a tired group. But this is part of the fun. This is part of the fun. Adds layers. Portland comes in off its 3rd straight win, 129-121 at Washington on Wednesday. This is game 3 of a 7-game road trip, a tricky 7-game road trip. Brooklyn comes in off its 2nd straight loss, 129-121 at home to the Thunder on Wednesday. Fernandez just gets a lot out of these guys. I mean, you're just getting more than the sum of their parts. This is the first of a back-to-back as they play at Detroit tomorrow night. Let's get into the line history here for this Portland Brooklyn spot. Brooklyn +2 right now. They opened up +1. The interesting thing about this Brooklyn spot, they open up +1, then they become the favorite. They were the favorite last night at 10:30 p.m. A -1.5, not even a -1. They were a -1.5 favorite up until 7 this morning, and then they become the dog again. And this dog line, they go from plus. Well, look, they go from -1.5 at 6:52 a.m. to +2.5. Now they're at +2, but it's even money. It's basically 2.5. It's basically a 4-point move towards the Portland Trailblazers. Let's get to the total here in this. You know, we're talking about franchises that have been sad sacks for a while that are stepping up right now, and they're excited to do it. It makes me think that maybe against these afterthoughts or these poor teams that they're going to keep trying. This total opens up at 218.5 and is now at 220. Wine Time says, is Cam Thomas playing? Let's get to the last information here. Yes, Cam Thomas is in, not on the injury report. It's Russell that's out. Cam Thomas is in. Keon Johnson, Cam Johnson, they're all in. We have 8 now. Jeremy Grant is a game time decision questionable. And he is important here because unless Avdia is in, but right now Avdia is also questionable. He left that Wednesday game early. I don't think Avdia plays. But this market move is telling us that must be in.
He got back in street clothes that second half. He came out, but yeah, he didn't end up playing the rest of that game. That's something to keep an eye out for.
This makes me nervous. This spot, there's so many angles here. You want to know who's in for Portland, but the market is telling us that Portland is in business. Take it away for us here. Wine Time, Blazers, Nets.
Yeah, Jimmy, I just want to make sure this is Cam Thomas's first game being back, right? He hasn't played before this.
No, he just came back, right? Let me just.
Yeah, and he was averaging 24 points a game. I mean, this guy.
24 games. 24 games.
This guy is the definition, can put the ball in the hoop, man. As a one-on-one basketball player, if you're looking for a one-on-one basketball player, one-on-one, this is one of the guys you're going to pick up because he can definitely do that. When he gets going, it's kind of hard to stop him. His mid-range and his three-pointer, and he can hit every single free throw when he gets to the line. Very talented basketball player, young guy. Kind of the guy, him and Cam Johnson, I feel like they're building around over here. You're seeing his point props. He's just coming back, Jim, and it's at 18.5. I know he was averaging, 23 points a game.
24.7.
You know, so it is a little, I mean, how many minutes is he going to play here, Jim? Is it 20, 25? Is going to be 30? If he gave me 30 minutes, I think he hits that by the third quarter. Because when this guy, the thing is, this guy's a ball hog. He goes out there and he's going to know he's the best player on the court for this team. You could probably argue Cam Johnson, but Cam Thomas definitely thinks he's the best player out there. If you hear his post-game interviews and stuff, you know, he fears no one out there. He's kind of got that. He's talked about. He's got that Kobe mentality. Kobe was his favorite player, and he kind of goes out there and just puts his head down and shoots. Sometimes he goes out there and goes cold though. He can go 0 for 8. I've seen it happen. But he also could go 7 of 8 from the field and just get it going. So that's going to be a lot of questions here. I feel like I'm talking about this guy too much at this point, but this is a game I'm not backing here. Portland Trailblazers should get it done here, but for some reason I want to take the Brooklyn Nets. I kind of like their starting 5 they're throwing out there. If it's Cam Johnson, Keon Johnson, and Cam Thomas, and if Williams is still going to be out there, you got Claxton. That's not a bad team, honestly, especially being at home here. And Brooklyn needs to get some wins here, man. You know, they're out of it pretty much by all means, but they still have a decent team and they want to start building with the guys they have around them. Maybe they get it done here at home. Portland, not a team I really want to fade right now. It seems like I was on a good run with them for a while, backing them, and I started fading them in spots and they started burning me in spots. So Portland, maybe that's some recency bias here. So I'm probably going to most likely end up staying off this game. But Jim, this is another, I mean, we got some really good games today. I know this is kind of like this is a bum fight, I guess you could say a little bit, but like this is going to be a good basketball game. I think this spread is priced appropriately and Brooklyn could get this game outright. If I had a free bet, it would be Brooklyn money line plus 125 because I'm getting plus money with a coin flip game, if you ask me.
Robert Franklin, and I know our guy Slow Jams, Arsenal also doing this. They, fading the team whose star player is returning. And there, Nasty Nate, now joining us. I told you he was not here for a Boston break. Don't watch it, Nate. Don't watch it. Do you not? Okay, Brooklyn's been playing more than the sum of their parts, and now they have a guy who says, he pulls out the Hito Turkoglu ball line. He wants the ball in his hands all game. Do you think that's going to mess up Brooklyn, and it doesn't matter who's out for Portland because this is just going to mess up their rhythm?
Yeah, I think it could mess up their rhythm. That's the thing. I've watched some games where Cam Thomas he doesn't want to pass the ball, and one player can't beat five people. You know what I mean? You could definitely try, and I've seen him try to do it, but it could throw this team off.
Let me pitch something to you. Cam Thomas announced in. The line moves towards Brooklyn, and the Sharps, licking their chops, hammer the Blazers, and that's why we've had a 4-point swing.
Yeah, I know it's tough. This game's tough, man, because I do think Cam Thomas is going to play in this one. I don't think he would be showing up here, questionable or probable, whatever it is, if he wasn't going to play in this one, because I haven't seen that the last couple of games. So I do think he's going to play in this one. And yeah, the Trailblazers are not out of it by any means. This is a meaningful basketball for them. They're 6-7 games under 500, trying to still make the play-in tournament. And I've talked about it. I actually do like their starting five that they have out there. Have some question marks about Chauncey, the head coach. I'm not really sure about him, but I like the team, what they've been doing down the stretch here. So it's a tough one. This is an extremely tough cap. Another game I'm going to probably end up staying up, but this is going to be a good basketball game. I think this one's going to come down to the wire. So yeah, this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, Drew ruled out. KP questionable. It's now 1.5 for Cleveland. Look, I think I figured out what happened. So I'm going to be on the Portland Trailblazers here. Let me set this up here. Okay. Let's roll on. Lucky Lefty looking over. The 2s and 2.5s are gone here. Let's roll on. Lil Domo going to roll with me on this one. I hope that's the case, Lil Domo. Let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern with the Indiana Pacers 33-24, 15-14 on the road. The Miami Heat 27-30, 13-11 home. Kaseya Center in Miami, Florida. I've done okay with the Pacers. I have a positive ROI with the Pacers, but they do concern me at times. I'm not always sure when they're going to show out. Now, this is a Friday night in Miami. Nice situation. This line opens up at 9:59 p.m. with the Pacers -4. 7:42 a.m. they get to -4.5, and then they just moved back to 4 2 minutes ago. Back to 4 2 minutes ago. Let's get to the total here for this one. From a total scenario, we have the Pacers Heat. Oh, and sorry, let me go back to the stacks because we have stacks are both NBA. So Nuggets +2, and then we'll remember for the Pelicano spot. And we have the Trilogy play today coming up as well. Here, though, this total is 224 -109 to the under. It's opened up at 226. We've had a 2-point move towards the under. And we just talked about the point spread not moving. Let's get into the cash flow here for this one. Oh, I don't know if we talked about the Blazers Nets cash flow, but it's 69% of it's going down. 68% of the tickets on the Blazers on the spread, 62% of the cash, 59 and 64 on the money line here. I apologize. I haven't been hitting the cash flows as much as I need to. Let's go into this cash flow here. We have 65% of the tickets on the Pacers and 54% of the cash, 65 and 54, 87 and 88 on the over. And yet this has been dropping. Let me get back to my notes here. Here we go. Pacers coming off their 4th win in 5 games, 111-91 at home over the Raptors on Wednesday. A big shout out to BJ, who was pushing me to get on the Pacers, and that was very helpful. Very, very helpful that I did. The Heat snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 131-109 win at home over Atlanta on Wednesday. They were getting all the calls. It was a fortunate situation, and they took care of business. But here, the Pacers, are rolling. They're playing good basketball. They're out. Matherin's out. McConnell is a game time decision. He's questionable. He's missed 2 straight games with an ankle injury. Really important backup point guard. And then when we get to Miami, of course, Jovic is out. Wiggins is a game time decision listed as questionable. So he's got a sprained right ankle. And then we have Bam. Bam right now is listed as questionable, dealing with the right calf contusion. I think this line move to the Pacers makes sense. It makes sense. Lucky lefty on Pacers first half. Take it away for us here. Now the 4 is not moving and the public's on them. I'm not rushing to bet the Pacers. I don't plan on betting them as soon as the show's over, but I'm certainly interested in them here. They're playing good ball, and can the Heat relax their shoulders after getting a win that they so desperately needed? Take it away one time, Pacers Heat.
Yeah, I just moved on it right now. I just played it. Pacers -4, -110. I refreshed it because when you said it went down to a -4, I had a 4.5. I think it's the best number we're going to get here, Jim. I think it's going to go back to a 4.5. I don't know if we're going to see a 5, but I think this line is pretty telling here. I mean, the Miami Heat desperately need some wins here, but I just kind of talked about it the last couple of weeks. It's a team that I've wanted to fade down the stretch, a team that I don't really believe in. And I was on them last game, worked out good against Atlanta. I faded them the game before. I was on Atlanta in that one. And it just seemed like a good Miami spot last game. They beat these guys by 22 points, stayed at home against a good Indiana Pacers team. This line, I think it's going to go more towards Pacers. I think we're going to see a 4.5 here shortly again, unless someone gets ruled out, assumably so. Looks like TJ McConnell, you kind of touched on, it's questionable. Looks like everyone else is going to play. Halliburton's probable. So he will be playing in this one. Miles Turner is going to be in. I like the Pacers here, Jim. I moved on at -4, -110. Really like this spot here against Miami. I like the Pacers here.
I'm interested in joining you. I'm not sure if I get there, but I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on it throughout the day. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern. The Toronto Raptors 18-41, 5-22 on the road at the Chicago Bulls 23-36, 10-21 at home. We're at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Let's get into the line history here for this Raptors Bulls spot. This total is at 232. It's -110 to the over. This opened up at 235.5. So we've had a major move towards the under here. On the point spread, this one is got the Raptors +2 at +101. They opened +1.5. So we've had a half-point move towards saturated Chicago Bulls. Take a look at the cash flow for this spot. We have 28% of tickets and 30% of cash on the Raptors on the spread. Just 24% of tickets and 18% of cash on the Raptors on the money line. 61 and 57 on the over. Raptors coming off their second straight loss, 111-91 at Indiana on Wednesday. This is game 2 of a 4-game trip. They go into Orlando for back-to-back spots after this. Bulls coming off their 7th loss in 8 games, 122-117 at home versus the Clippers on Wednesday. They played, they covered. The Clippers are a tricky team to cap, although I'm on them today. Take it away for us here. Wine time Raptors Bulls at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, if I'm looking at both of these teams as a whole, I'm going to say the Raptors are the better team here in this spot. I like their starting 5 a whole lot better than the Chicago Bulls that they're throwing out there. It is weird, though, that the Chicago Bulls are sitting at a -2 right now. Yeah, -2, -110. I thought it was going to move towards the other way. I thought it kind of opened up appropriately. I almost wanted to take the Raptors, thinking I was going to get some value on them, thinking that they maybe go from dog to favorite here in this spot. Because I definitely think the Raptors are the better team here. Bulls losing 8 of the last 9, though. I mean, Toronto, too, not playing well going down the stretch. But I do like the Raptors team a whole lot better than the Bulls. Gun to the head, I would take the Raptors. I just think we have so many other spots today. This wasn't a spot I moved on. This is going to be a good game, though. This is such a good card. I love the NBA card today. This is going to be a good game, but it's also tricky. Some of these games are really tricky. If the line moves towards the Raptors, you might see me move on them closer to game time. Let's say if they do go to as a favorite, I doubt that's where it's heading right now because the public's hammering the Bulls. And if that happened, that would it would be a must bet. But
I don't think Barnes plays.
Oh, is he not playing?
Well, he didn't play Wednesday. I don't think he comes back and plays here.
Yeah, I do see him questionable in this one. If he doesn't, then that's tricky. It's a tough game. I'm going to end up staying off this one.
Vooch is doubtful.
Yeah, I don't think Vooch is going to play in this one. Looks like Kobe White's the best player in this starting five here for the Chicago Bulls, and that's a little bit scary if you ask me.
Yeah, I would. Okay, Scotty Barnes gets announced out. Raptors go to like 3.5 or 4. I'm gonna bet them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because I think even without Scotty Barnes, I like Quickly. I know you're not a fan of Barrett, but I do like Barrett. He can put the ball in the hoop. Grady Dick can definitely score as well. Podol's playing today, right? Jakob Podol. Yeah, he's in.
Pirtle's in. You know, I'll say bad things about RJ Barrett, but I'm a huge fan of his pops. Rowan was a huge part of Canadian basketball, and I don't. And RJ lost his brother. His brother died. I don't mean. The way he plays defense bothers me as a gambler.
Yeah,
it bothers me when he's on the floor. When he'll throw no look passes and shit like that with 2 or 3 minutes left in the game, and it infuriates me. So but I love the pops and so I don't mean any disrespect because I do hammer RJ a lot. Let's move on because our next spot is this man's play of the day.
Yo. World Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H. I stack green like Boston, shout out to Nasty Nate. From down south, where we ride on slab. 420 highway smoking with that boy Gabby Cap. Fly out to Denver for the Nugget fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Connor Mack. Call up Dutch boy, cause you know we stay fresh. What's the strain of the day, homie? Watch the daily set.
LJ from H-Town, Trill OG play today. Memphis -3.5, 8-0 against the spread last 8 games versus East, 4-0 against the spread at home on Fridays. And why wouldn't we want to fade the New York Knicks? Why wouldn't we want to fade them here? Memphis opening up at 3. Opening up at 4. Wow, just a little after midnight. Opening up at 4. It was 3.5 when it opened up at 2 or 3 in the afternoon at other offshores. This one opened up 12:25 a.m. Opened up with the Grizzlies -4, -101. So the immediate move within 2 minutes was towards the Knicks. Then we get back to a 4, and we get up to a 4.5 around 9 or 10 this morning. Now we're back at a 4. So overall, we've had 3 cents, just 3 cents of movement towards the Memphis Grizzlies. On the total here, we have a 243.5, -113 to the under. It's opened up at 245, got down to 243.5, and that's where it is now. So we've had a 1.5 drop on the total. When we get to the cash flow for Knicks Grizzlies, here we go. 55% of tickets, 59% of cash on the Grizzlies. 62 and 58 is on the over. My guy Lamont Williams in the house. Great to see you, Lamont. Been too long so we can watch. Got to rock with you, man. Knicks come off snapping their 2-game losing streak. Very underwhelming 110-105 win at home versus the Sixers on Wednesday. The Grizzlies coming up their second win in 3 games, 151-148 at home over the Suns on Tuesday. I think that's a big deal here that it was on Tuesday, so they got Wednesday off and Thursday off. This is the first of a home back-to-back, and it's game 2 of a 5-game homestand. They host the Spurs tomorrow night, which to me says you can go all in here. Spurs coming to town with no center. I mean, let's get it. Well, I shouldn't say that. We got Biyombo. But also we have Desmond Bane as a game time decision. Listed as questionable. Left groin soreness. This kind of came out of nowhere. He hasn't missed a game in a while. Or I guess 23 days, not that long. And then for the Knicks, you got Cat as a game time decision listed as questionable with a knee injury. So we shall see for him. Then we have Josh Hart. Josh Hart right now, also questionable right knee effusion, and he played Wednesday And he was trying. I mean, 17 rebounds for the man. I mean, this guy just gives you everything he possibly can. Next, so here we go. I think that's everything. And I went into the cash flow. So take it away for us here. Wine time, Knicks, Grizzlies.
Yeah, I'm right there with LJ. I'm on the -4 though. I wish I could have got the -3.5. I gave out the -4 earlier this morning, -110. I believe you can still get the same number. I don't think it's at a 4.5 right now. I think it might be at a 4.5 at some books. Let me screw. I got a -4 still at mine, but yeah, I think they're going to take care of business. I mean, the Knicks, it's no secret they struggle against the teams that are actually above 500 and are in playoff contention. Grizzlies here, I think this is just a really good spot for him here. Knicks, I mean, it's kind of crazy what Coach Tibbs is doing over there. I mean, when they were down by by 20 to the Celtics with a minute and a half left, he had all of his starters out there still scoring, still trying to get points on the board. Absolutely wild. I mean, he's running this team into the ground before they get into the playoffs. And when they actually face good competition, I question how they're going to be in a 7-game series. Earlier this season, I looked at their starting 5. I think I said it multiple times that it's one of the best starting 5s in the NBA. But yet they can't beat the good teams. They just can't stay in these games. It's crazy. And Memphis is a really good team. And I know they're coming off a win. Would prefer if they're coming off back-to-back losses here because they lost their game before that. But I'm on the Grizzlies here. I think they're going to take care of business. I think the Grizzlies are a better team. They're at home here on a Friday night. I think they're going to beat these guys by 8 to 12 points and take care of business here. So I'm right there with you guys. I'm on the Memphis Grizzlies here, -4. I don't take the Memphis Grizzlies a whole lot. I think I might have taken them maybe once or twice this year. But I will be taking them here in this spot against the Knicks.
It does feel like a really just a perfect spot for this Grizzlies team. Friday night in Memphis, the Knicks come to town. The FedEx is going to be just booming here. It just feels like a great spot. I'm 3-0 on job props here, but he's coming off a huge 29-point game, so I don't, but I imagine that he rolls here. Turnsey's saying, yeah, so you're perfect on the jaw. Every time I bet jaw, it's after a no-show performance.
Yeah.
So he played quite well in that overtime game, 29 points. He didn't shoot the ball very well. 8 assists as well. Turned the ball over 5 times, 5 fouls. No, I this isn't it. I've got to stick to the routine, and I try not to bet player props, honestly. But you have to think that it kind of goes hand in hand. That if you like the Grizzlies, you like them to roll, put up points, and Josh should take care of business. I'm interested in joining you with the Grizzlies. Do you think this line should be bigger?
No, if you know that the Knicks struggle against good teams, I think, yeah, they should be probably. You could maybe put this at a -5, Jim, but I don't think you could put this any above. Just because if you're looking at the Knicks record, I mean, what are they, 16, 17? What are they, 17 games over 18 games over 500? To the general public, when they're looking at this, I think they're thinking this is a Knicks spot more than anything. I don't think this should be bigger. I mean, maybe because they are, like I said, maybe up to a 5 if you ask me, but I don't think anything higher than that.
Okay. Man, they're big. To simplify the take for me.
Sorry.
Oh, say what, man?
I think they were a +8 against the Celtics in Boston the other day, and Boston's the reigning. I would think -5 maybe at the absolute most in this.
Mm-hmm. But Von Polo says Grizzlies about to get blown out. Interesting. Man, Bear Pig. Basically, if Scotty Barnes is out, I want in on the Raptors at that line. But I wouldn't hate it if Scotty Barnes is in. I just that appeals to me a little more at this point. I'm going to spend a little more time on it. Rand thinks the Raps win. Let's roll on to the next spot. Pelicans, Suns, Footprint Center, Phoenix, Arizona. This is great. We just watched them play. Now, if you go back to that Spurs spot, Pelicans played the Spurs in the same barn back-to-back, won both. Obviously, that's in my head because I bet them on both. Here, oh, no, I didn't. I don't think I had them in the first game. I was just astonished at what the Pelicans' weak-ass bigs were doing. Now, weak-ass bigs, look, we just watched Zion go for his first career triple-double. And how does Zion celebrate his first career triple-double? By being a game-time decision in his next spot. He's just so fucking tough to trust, man. Booker went for 36. Both teams are playing their third game in 4 nights. It was the Pelicans' third straight win and the Suns' third straight loss. Now, the big situation here is Bradley Beal will be back in the lineup. They haven't said that, but you'd have to think that he'll be back. Oh, Clippers at 5.5 now.
Wow.
Okay, well, that's better. That's better, BJ. It's no plus 1.5. But and here we have the Pelicans team total over 114.5. Pelicans 114.5. Gorky, we'll come back. We'll go back to that spot because we spent some time on it. Jermaine says Suns 3-8 on the back-to-back, but I wonder, Jermaine, what they are after losing the first of a back-to-back. I wonder if that changes things, whether they have a little more emphasis. Team total over for our guy, Justin McKelvey. Team total over for these Pelicanos.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
And Gorky, I want to have action on that last game of the night. The idea that UNLV is above them in the conference and Nevada is a short road favorite is unsettling. Nevada beat UNLV the first time they played, so UNLV has Rebenga. It's very unsettling that they're not. The UNLV is not a point favorite, 2-point favorite, or something. So I'm uncomfortable at this point. A wager detective leading to the Bulls in the Raptors-Bulls spot. Take it away for us here, One Time Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. I love when Ron Lofton is just disgusted with his Phoenix Suns. I don't know why I love when my friends are disgusted with their team. I guess it's much more enjoyable than to hear them bragging, Take it away, One Time Pelicans Suns.
I mean, this is a Sun spot, if you ask me, coming off a loss to this, same exact team last night. The Suns, are they going to make the playoffs this year, guys? Are they going to make the play-in tournament? A lot of questions about that. I question their heart. They've got a couple good players that are over there. Don't get me wrong. Outside of that, Beal is expected to play in this one. It's questionable, but I think he is going to play. If he plays in this one, I think they're going to get their revenge here in this spot. And I think, what were they last night again? Let me check that. That was a 6.5. Yeah, it was a 6.5. And that's what this line opened up at, I believe, 5.5, 6. 6.5. Yeah. And we're up to an 8. Definitely looks like it's steaming up right here. 30%, 33% of bets, 51% of money. Very sharp. Almost.
I got an 8.5.
Wow. Yeah, this is insane. It seems like a Sun smash spot. Finally. Am I going to do it? I don't know if I can pull the trigger on it, honestly, just because it's hard for me to trust the Suns to beat any team by double digits because they rely solely on 2 or 3 players over there. Outside of that, they don't get too much production. I don't really know what Phoenix is doing at this point. It's tough. It's tough to back them here, but I definitely think that this is a Suns spot. If I was going to ever back the Suns, this is where I would take them, coming off a loss yesterday to a team that, probably shouldn't have beaten them, even though they are a little bit healthier than they were in the beginning of the season. These are big games for the Suns. Like, they have to win this game. If they lose this game, I don't know. It's tough. So I'm going to stay away from this one. I want to take the Suns. If I could have got a 6.5, I would have taken it. But at -8 now, I don't know if I can do it. I believe they can, but I don't know if I can actually take it. So I'm going to stay away from this one.
If you were on the Suns 6.5 and we were looking at an 8.5 right now, wouldn't you tell me Suns are going to win by double digits?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure. And they probably will, Jim. That's what I'm seeing from all this. And I might take it. We'll see. Let me see if I can. Let's see what mine is. Let me
33% of the tickets, 51% of the cash on the Suns. Look, I get what Von Polo's saying. He said the entire world thinking it's Phoenix spot, but they're struggling right now. Pelicanos continue to roll. Attorney saying I'm going to go off back-to-back nights. I challenge him. Todd Clinton in the house is what the hell happened last night with Wild and the Oilers? Did Fat Wally give his NASCAR pick? Yes, Todd Clinton, and I copied and pasted for you I was thinking about you when Wally came in to deliver the goods. This is from our guy Fat Wally's cashed back-to-back NASCAR races. That's not easy, man. Let's pop this here, and there you go. That's NASCAR, Fat Wally's NASCAR action. If you want to hear his NASCAR action in person, you know what? I should make my first NASCAR bet at San Antonio, on the Saturday. Be fun, wouldn't that be fun to have a little action on that? Have it on one corner. Okay, you know I'm going to do that. I'm going to mention.
I don't think I've ever taken NASCAR, man. I just remember growing up, my dad loved fucking Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. My son Jose doesn't enjoy NASCAR. So, let's roll on here. I think that the Suns probably smash and grab, but does anybody trust the character of the Phoenix Suns? Like Viper saying, this should be a smash spot for Phoenix, but I passed. But it probably is. Beal probably comes. It's probably a 20-point. God, because in that second game with the Pelicans against the Spurs, they looked terrible. We got in live with them at the dog. They came on and won it late. I don't want the Suns at this number, but I'm gonna look at them a little bit. Let's roll on. 9:30 p.m. Eastern with the Minnesota Timberwolves 32-27, 16-13 on the road at Utah Jazz 14-44, 7-22 home with Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah. Let's get into this spot here. Timberwolves on the second half back-to-back after losing 111-102 to the Lakers last night. And they rallied without Ant. Ant ejected with 5:27 remaining in the third quarter, picked up a second tech. So that's 16 technicals on the season. So he's suspended for one game. Fourth in league in scoring at 27.3 points per game. It's Utah comes in off its second straight loss, fourth in 5 games, 118-101 at home versus Sacramento. This is game 5 of a 7-game homestand. Close to the perfect spot for Utah. And I was very interested in what this line was going to be. So when it opened up at -3 and then moved to -2.5, I really thought that, why wouldn't we want the Jazz here? And then I started thinking, well, are the Wolves going to, rally here, or will one of the bigs, Gobert or Randall, play? They're not playing. Nobody's playing. Nobody's coming back. So then I was like, okay, Markkanen's being listed as out. That was what that point move was just. Then we have Sexton, Collins, and Clarkson as game time decisions. Sexton questionable with the ankle injury. He's missed 10 games in a row. I think it's fair to not expect him in the lineup, although home games are when you could see a player return, but we'd probably know now. We have John Collins has a chance. He's missed 3 straight games with back soreness. So it sounds like, that's an upgrade to questionable for Collins, so maybe he gets in. Then you have Clarkson questionable with the plantar fasciitis. So he can't get away from it right now. So Markkanen being announced out is probably the line move. And then when I was looking at all of this, I was like, okay, well, let's say we know that Sexton's most likely out. Maybe Collins comes in. So let's say Collins plays and Clarkson is out with the foot issue, let's say. So let's say Clarkson, Sexton out. So then you have, a 3-4-5 Sensabaugh, Collins, Kessler. You have Collier at the 1. Is that a better lineup than Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Clark, McDaniels, and Naz Reid, who probably want to prove to everyone that they can win without the bigs? There's a lot here for we saw Minnesota play with heart and character last night.
Yeah.
Here again, shout out to my guy Aaron Malavo in the house, Manila, Philippines, rolling with us. A wine time, take it away. I know you were very angry when Ant was ejected last night. Timberwolves, Jazz, take it away.
Yeah, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I felt like they started rallying around each other a little bit more towards the stretch there. Ant really struggled in that first half, that first quarter, man. Really struggled out there. Didn't look like himself. I was kind of surprised being at Crypto. I thought he was going to be hyped up for that game. Crazy thing is we actually almost got that cover for the full game for the Timberwolves. Absolutely wild. But with that being said, very weird line right here. I mean, because, Ant's not going to play in this one. It's are we at a 4.5 now, Jim? Am I seeing that correctly?
Yes. I think it's because Markkanen announced out. No,
Wow.
it's not 4.5 everywhere. In fact, it went to 4.5 and it's come back to 4.
Yeah, I got 4.5. So this is crazy. I'm going to stay far away from this game because I do think Timberwolves are going to win this game, even without Ant Edwards in there. And I know Gobert's been out. I think that they can show up. We saw Alexander Walker play pretty well last night. I mean, he was missing quite a few free throws, as everyone was on that fucking team last night. But it is what it is. Lakers were missing him as well. Luka, I think, seemed like he missed every other free throw he took. It was crazy. Jalen Clark out there, the guy from UCLA, can play some really good defense. He can knock down the open shot at times, you know what I mean? Mike Conley, a good vet to have out there on the court. The guy's not going to give you 15 to 20 points like he used to, but, he can make some of those three-pointers and still make his free throws. So we'll see. This is a tough game, though. I'm going to end up staying away from this one. Marketing being announced out, about an hour and 15 minutes ago. I'm going to stay away from this game. I would probably be on the Timberwolves. I do think they're going to take care of business here. I don't think I want to have a play in this game.
God, this game I want to run from, but I can't stop coming back to the Suns game. I mean, it simply must be a Suns smash and grab. It must be like a powder keg release of energy. Beal starts and goes for the, Robert Franklin wanting the Wolves -2.5, or maybe you moved on the Wolves -2.5. I'm going to, I think the Jazz should be the spot here, honestly, but the market telling me otherwise. I'm going to stay off at this point. Let's roll on to the final spot on the board, which I've moved on. LA Clippers -4.5. Yes, it pales in comparison to our friend BJ, who got the +1.5, unbelievably. This one opened up at 2.5, -2.5 for Clippers at 2 in the afternoon yesterday. It opened up here at this very sharp offshore at 3.5 at 1:30 in the morning. And that first initial move was towards the Lakers. Now we have a 5.5. I could have paid for a 4 too. The 4 was -116. I'm trying. The VIG hurt me a bit in college basketball yesterday, so I didn't want to have a -116 hanging over my head, so I took the 4.5 here. Clippers coming off snapping their 3-game losing streak. Very underwhelming 122-117 win in Chicago on Wednesday. Lakers are on the second half of a back-to-back after winning their 4th straight game, 111-102 at home over the Timberwolves last night. LeBron goes for 33, 17, and 6. His body doesn't recover like it used to. I'm sure it's barking today. I'm sure he's in pain right now as we speak. When we get to the information for the Clippers, they're healthier than they've been in some time. It's Storm and Norman, the only guy on the injury report. I would expect them not to play, but again, this is when you can come back. I think because both these games against the Lakers are within 2 days, I would give them another couple days, but let's grab the cash flow here for this one. For the Lakers, by the way, LeBron not on the injury report, so he's going to go. Rui is. Hachimura left knee strain during the game, didn't return. Do not expect him in the lineup here. This is our final game on today's show. Then we race for $50. Lakers have 89% of the tickets and 81% of the cash, and this line just keeps moving away from them. This is just screaming Clippers to me, market-wise. Take it away for us here. Lakers, Clippers at Crypto.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jim. Shout out to my guy Saturated right there. Yeah, I'm on the Clippers. I gave out the 4.5. I could have got the 4 -120. Didn't want to pay for the juice. Didn't think I had to. I think the Clippers are going to beat these guys in the ground today. It's very weird to me that that LeBron isn't on the injury report. For some reason, Jim, I think some foolery is going to happen and he's going to get announced out. Kind of hope that doesn't happen because, someone knows something we don't, because the market, looking at the amount of money that's on this game, percentages and all that stuff just doesn't make sense to me. The Clippers playing really inconsistent basketball, but this is just such a Clippers spot. They were dominating the Lakers for it seemed like 3 or 4 years, and going down the stretch now, the Lakers are dominating them when they play each other. I think this is going to be a good spot here for the Clippers. Lakers just played last night. LeBron's got to be gassed. He looked just amazing out there. It's just crazy, man. 40 years old, man, just out there balling like it's absolutely insane. With that being said, I think this is going to be a smash and grab for the Clippers. I think they're going to beat these guys probably by 10 to 12 points. Someone's going to be ruled out. Hachimura is going to not play in this one. Dorian Finney-Smith's going to take over. That is a downgrade, if you ask me, because he can't shoot the ball like Hachimura can or get to the bucket like Hachimura can. Hachimura is a really aggressive player. DFS more in there for defense, and he can knock down the open three. He doesn't knock down that open three, he's not going to get you too many points. And they've been relying on Rui Hachimura to get him 15 to 20 every single night, it seems like. And he's been doing that. He's been playing at a really high level. He's going to get the night off. Jackson Hayes, he's in and out of the lineup. He's going to be out there to start the first half, second half. He might be there a little bit in the fourth quarter. He's going to clean up some dunks. He's going to get some alley-oops from LeBron and Luka. It's really fun watching Luka and LeBron play with each other. It seems like they've been playing with each other for a while. Their chemistry, it's really good. They both have a really high basketball IQ. I just think this is going to be a letdown spot. I mean, we're seeing 11% of bets, guys, 19% of money on the Clippers, and the line is up -5.5 now. I shout out to BJ for getting +1.5. I was never able to get that for me in this one. I could have gotten a 4. I didn't want to do it, though, because I don't even think I need it. I think this is going to be a blowout game for the Clippers. And if it isn't, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be mad. I think this is the right side no matter how we look at it. And we're going to beat the closing line, I believe, as well. And everything. This is a Clipper spot. And if they don't get it, they don't get it. But this is a spot I do believe in, an angle I do believe in. So Clippers are going to take care of business here on crypto. Clippers -4.5, -110.
You are in a business. I thought the same thing as you in regards to the 4. I mean, I thought about it. One time on the morning, -4.5, -110 with the Clippers. I got 4.5, -105 with the Clippers. I just bet the Phoenix Suns -8, -110 at 365.
I might join you on that one. I'm going to take a second look at that game, I think, here as well.
Nice. Yeah, it turns I have action on every game. We'll go over everything now. I'd like to hear that, Mr. Belvedere. Moving on, Brown. Well, it's just God, that one scream. Maybe that's the one I should have gave to Chang. Come on. Harvard has Yale on deck tomorrow after losing by 30 to Yale, and Yale coming in undefeated. What do they care about Brown? They couldn't care less about the Brown Bears today, I think. But I'm happy that you joined. I'm going to finish writing this one out here because I've set it up with the picture and everything, but I just got to write it out and send it into the local. So I'm going to do that right now. Can you review your action while I do this, my man?
Yeah. Let's start off really quick with let me go right to it. We're going to start off right off the top, guys. Let's see right here. Pistons -1.5, -110. I think they're going to take care of business. I think they're going to keep it rocking and rolling here. Oklahoma City, Atlanta Hawks over 244 -110. It's up to a 245 right now. I still endorse the 245. I think it's going to keep going up. Probably going to get to 245.5, maybe a 246 before tip off. This is going way over. There's a potential look at me taking the first half over as well. We'll see on that. Also on the Grizzlies, -4, -110. I think this is a good spot to take the Grizzlies. Like them a lot here. Also moved on the Pacers. That was an added play. I gave out -4 here, -110. Love that spot. And Clippers -4.5, -110. So those are my 5 plays today, guys. We've got a good amount of action. We're probably going to add at least 1 or 2 more plays into here. I'm still going to look at the card a little bit more. Haven't given anything out for college basketball today. Didn't really like the card too much today. I'm really leaning towards Purdue and Northwestern in those 2 games. We'll see if I get to the window on them. If I do, I'll tweet them out. But, we'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to touch college basketball today, but just got such a good NBA card today, and I feel like I just want to keep adding more plays in there. So might get there on the Suns too. Suns just seems like the right spot. And when I look at the score and they beat them by 21 points, I'm going to just think, God damn, so I might end up getting there. We'll see.
It just reminds me of a spot where you would message me. They win by double digits. It's very similar to that. I just bet it. We are right now, as we speak, we are in 3 weeks. We will be Friday night in San Antonio. 3 weeks. That will be the poker tournament at the Ace Card Club in San Antonio. Man, I could not wait. I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait for this. I'm just keeping my head down. I barely drinking at all. Just dreaming of the warmth and the sunshine, and dreaming of the opportunity to be back with my son. My son, the joy I have when my son's around is enormous. And although he doesn't move me when he calls me dad, like I was moved with the Skunt Blaster, still very proud of my son and excited to spend time with him at Pubapalooza. Wine Time, my man, thank you for all that you do, my guy. Thank you for all that you do for us. I cannot wait to rock with you. Please support our guy Wine Time here on X. Please support him here on X. I'm going to pop it up here. Says, what is that white film all over the face? That wasn't. That was made by a friend of the show. That wasn't made by Jose. It was made by a friend of the show here. Let's grab this. I'm going to pop it here into the chat. The Wine Time X handle. Wine Time. Any last words for the Capper supporting the show, my man?
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm stoked, man. 3 weeks away. We're going to be there 2 days into the trip, sweating out these college basketball games, drinking at Southtown 101, hanging out. Excited, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be here before we know it. So everyone book your trips. Looking forward to it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks for having me as well, Jim. As always, follow me on X, Wine Time Sports. If I tweet out any added plays, I'll end up tagging my guy in there so we can add it to the record. But yeah, guys, good luck to everyone in the chat. And I'll see you guys next week.
Get that cash. One time, my man. It is time to race. It is also time to review action. Please welcome my son to the show, Jose Bouquet. Jose, how are you?
Yeah, I better be your damn son. God, Jesus, man. Unbelievable. This guy just threw me out on the fucking cold streets. But
you have to admit it was a very heartfelt message that was written.
Yeah, it was great. I shout out to Skunt Blaster. I hope he picks you up from the airport. I hope he smells you and tells you if you stink or not. I hope that all happens at Pubapalooza.
Oh, no.
That's what I mean, someone's got to do it, right? Might as well be your son.
My son, who I care so deeply about, young Jose Bouquet. Jose, we're racing horses here on the San Antonio sod. We thank all of our gold members. Truly, truly thank you. How many do we have, Jose?
77. By the way, it's the end of the month, so don't forget to hit that resubscribe, renew button, whatever that button may be called. Don't forget to keep that shit on. So shout out to you guys. You guys very much help the channel. Is today the day where Nasty Nate comes out on top? Let's find out together. George Wood, Nut Flush in the mix here. TJ, Johnny Guns, Saturated, Nasty Nate falling backwards quickly in the back. Pipe layer laying that pipe right now, and T-Moss in the mix here right now. Nuke Worker also in the mix, Jimmy, and Nasty Nate nowhere to be found.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's important. History is important. Big run by Fernando Mendoza. Kent Davies also making a run. Chris Boggin in play as well. Gerald Jones trying to make a move. Here comes Paul Taylor, the Sailor, Salty Pete Eberk. We're coming down to 17 seconds left, and T-Moss is holding on to the lead. Can T-Moss get to the wire? Because Lil Domo has something to say about that. Lil Domo trying to get to the lead. And here comes Randall Sheffield and Sammy Comer and Kelly McInnes making a big move.
Put your son of a bitch, Jose! Come on!
And it is the Sweaty Butcher. The Sweaty Butcher. Now $50 to add to the bank.
Fuck!
Man Bear Pig gifting us 5 Pub Sports. Oh, I didn't even see you there, Jose. My son.
Damn it.
My son. Again, my son invisible to me, and I apologize.
Ah.
I apologize there. You look like you really needed the bankroll boost.
That would have been nice, yeah. Would have been a nice bone thrown my way.
Thank you to Man Bear Pig gifting us 5 Pub Sports Radio memberships. It means a ton to us. Abel A, Keelan Jackson, Anthony Velez, and Y2BM. Todd Spangler getting those. Thank you, guys. Thank you to Man Bear Pig. And that's great, man. That's great. $50 bankroll boost for our guy, the sweaty butcher.
That's 2 bets for me. That's nothing for fucking the sweaty butcher. That's skin off his ass. That's 2 whole bets for me. Damn.
What do you think Nuke wants when he wants the PSR kink? What do you think he's looking for?
Butt stuff.
A face mask for sure, like a leather face mask for sure.
Yeah.
Ball in the mouth. I'm guessing.
Apparently, some white film across someone's face.
White film on the
Nate, just saying kink and all tap.
Yeah, I know what Nuke wants. He wants the leather face mask, the ball in the mouth. Maybe we use an apple just for fun. Apple in the mouth.
Sure.
I think that's the kink he's looking for. And then he wants high heels. And then you know what he wants you to do with those high heels, right, Jose? This is the kink I think that he wants.
I'm interested.
He wants you to smash his testicles.
I'm suddenly immediately not interested at all.
Oh, really? Okay. That's what Nuke wants. He wants high heels and nuts smashed.
You have to ride the plane with him. I don't. He's gonna come kick my ass. I know that.
Well, he is our champion of cornhole.
That is true.
Let's review all action here. I'm going to be trying to find a place in my son's heart now from the end of time.
Who? Skunt?
No, you.
Oh,
you.
Okay. Sorry.
You. Look, I feel like I failed you there. I was moved by because
no one's ever said this. What?
You don't say it in a like a heartfelt way. You're my father. It's like joking. You never say, "Look, Jimmy." You don't almost tear up.
I you know what? I still say it more than him. But it's about the quantity, not the quality.
No, I don't, because you say it as a joke, as a gag.
You don't know that. You don't know how I feel in my heart.
Robert Franklin is smashing nuts in high heels is crazy work. Crazy work. Saturated says, end the cycle of emotional abuse. Listen, Jose, I'm gonna make this up to you.
It ends with us, as they say.
I'm gonna make this up to you. I'll make this up to you.
Okay. We'll see what I see. If only I'm planning on staying deep into the nights into Pubapalooza, so we'll see what the Palooza has to say.
I'm excited.
A little bag thrower too. Who knows? No, it's Peepaw, Nate. Come on.
Yeah, Peepaw. Come on. There's no genuine feeling there. Peepaw, you're making fun of me.
No, of course.
You're making fun of my age.
Of me? No.
Yeah. There's no look. When it was a very heartfelt moment, and Scumplaster, it moved me. When you say you're making fun of me,
no. We have such a close relationship that you're a father to me, and you might be old. Who knows?
I know. I tell everybody how old I am all the time. 45. All right, let's review all action. FAP win, giving us Australian horse racing action. You're going to move on these Australian horse racing action? We haven't seen FAP in his vat of lube in a long time.
I haven't, but I have no method of moving on it, so it is not even offered in my local. It's disgusting. It's gross. But I do miss FAP and that vat of lube. By the way, I did just do the calculations. You're only a few years older than my older brother, so shout out to both of you.
Yeah. I mean,
my brother's 40 or 41, so
you don't even know the age of your brother?
I don't. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't. If you ask me the same thing about my mom and dad, I'd say the same. I don't know either.
Wow. But you know how old I am. I thought, okay.
Whatever. You just told me, so I do now.
You didn't know I was 45?
No, I don't know ages. I'm sorry. I don't know anyone's age.
Yeah, you're bad with numbers. I know.
Yeah,
all right, let's review all action here. I'm going to have to get these NBA bets here before, because I will be able to pick up Ella. This is our short show. Hey?
Yeah, shout out to Ella. Tell Ella, my former sister, I guess. Tell her I said hello, please.
No, you're still part of the family. You're still part of the family. I've been telling her how dangerous Venezuela is.
Good,
good. She's
good.
I've been telling her.
Good.
She wants to know. She always asks, where's the most dangerous places? And I say, well, you know where Jose's from.
Yeah, that's good.
Real OG play today, Memphis -3.5. Justin McKelvey, Stacks, Nuggets +2. Pelicans team total over 114.5. Respect play today, Davidson first half +8.5. Gorky on UCLA +5.5. Billy Friedrich, Pig Milk play today, Georgia State +5.5. Nate Dogg play today, Nate Dogg 420 play today, McKinnon to score. Scuntbag, Fiorentina moneyline, Echeverry moneyline parlay +240. Then we have Kongs Clips play day tomorrow. Louisville first half, Houston first half. Nate Dogg also on Brooklyn Nets money line. Dan Kelly on the Cavs money line. Ross Pitts on Yale Dartmouth game over 154 and a half. Then DC Capper on Georgia State plus 4.5. UCLA under 140 and a half. Then in NHL, I'm on the Toronto Maple Leafs on the -1 line. I am looking forward to watch the Rangers struggle without Fox in the lineup. And yes, the Leafs will be hurt without Tanev in the lineup, yes. But now Keandre Miller is going to play. And my legit question is he going to be playing in the third period and second period? He's got a lower body injury. He's going to be forced to step up here, and I bet you he gets hurt again.
I'm also on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I put them in a parlay.
I love it. I love hearing that. Dallas Stars here. The Kings are a real easy team. They're a very predictable hockey team. They can't score on the power play. They're unders galore. I may move on this under in Kings Dallas. And I am on the Dallas Stars on the -1 line. Again, remember we talk about this. This is such crucial stuff. The team's coming home from a road trip. It's their first game home from a road trip. So what do you need? There's only 2 boxes I need. Did they lose their last game? Yes. Do they get the extra day of rest? Yes. They came back on Tuesday. They didn't come back on Wednesday, or they didn't play on Wednesday and then fly back on Thursday and play on Friday. They came back on Tuesday. They didn't have to leave after the game. They slept. They flew back on Wednesday, didn't skate, had the optional skate on Thursday, ready to go on Friday. I'm on Dallas, and I'm on the under 6 in Minnesota, Colorado with Mel. Then in college basketball, I'm on Brown -110, Dartmouth plus 9.5. That was only -113. Ron Crawford play today, Stars in regulation in the NHL. Memphis -2.5. God, he got a 2.5. And Marist plus 1.5. I'm interested in Niagara, and I'm interested in Manhattan. Spooner's on Brown moneyline, Dartmouth moneyline, Texas State moneyline, Kent State plus 4.5. I am off a few of those spots. We had Wally's NASCAR action. Sacred Heart, I bet -1. I think it was -1 and -116. Yes, and I got Coastal Carolina -1 and -111. Nutflush looking at that Sacred Heart team total over 72.5. Then I'm interested in Fairfield. I'm interested in Purdue. I'm very interested in Texas State. I'm interested in Georgia Southern, but I have to. If I take Georgia Southern, I'm going up against DC Capper and Pig Milk play today, so I want to study that a little more. Leonard Porsche Jr. talking about the bad spot for the Raging Cajuns and why South Alabama is such a big favorite. I'm interested in hammering that as well. That's a great line, by the way, that Leonard gave us. This is what he said, bad mental spot for the Cajuns. That's his team. He knows them so well. The whole city celebrating Mardi Gras while they wonder how much fun they're missing. Yes, Mel, I knew that you grabbed that under 6. It was part of the reason that I moved towards it myself. Turnsies on the Leafs and the under, and Dallas and Avs on the puck line. I think it's dangerous to bet the Avs on the puck line here. A little dangerous. Yeah, Spooner, I got it for him. Oh, it's not that link. It's a different link. It's just because in Texas, things are a little different. Anybody going to Texas who needs help getting action, just hit me on DM. Then I'm interested in App State. I'm interested in Kent State. The only moves I'm going to make right now are an NBA here. I'm already on the Zion just ruled out. Wow. And what has that done to the line? Oh, it's only moved it a point to 9. Oh, good thing I bet that during the show. I bet you one time nonplussed. Mel says agreed. I would not bet the Avs puck line here. The Avs were a powder keg against the Devils. They just lost 2 straight games on the road. Makar and McKinnon desperately needed a rest, and they exploded against a really good hockey team. And now they relax. Now their shoulders are relaxed. They relaxed. You have a Minnesota Wild team that just got publicly embarrassed in a 6-1 loss. I'm not saying the Wild are going to win this hockey game. I'm just saying it's going to be a much different affair. And the puck line does not interest me on the Avalanche. And they can still get it. They're a great hockey team. Man Bear Pig shit my sheets play days Hawks money line plus 390. Wine times on the over 244 in Thunder Hawks. I'm going to move on the Cavaliers. It's still plus. God, it was plus 1.5. Still plus 1.5. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Then the Blazers have become more appealing. The Pacers, the wine times on have become more appealing. I will have some interest in the Raptors if Barnes is out. The Grizzlies are appealing. Wine time moved on that. I moved on the Suns -8. Timberwolves, Utah, I'm off, and I'm already on the Clippers -4.5 with wine time. I got the 4. Yeah, I'm good to pick her up. There you go. Mel says, Jimmy, this is the kind of game that Wild drag into the mud and create a low-scoring game out of. I agree. I agree. And love capping with you, Mel. That is our show for today. Thank you so much to Wine Time Sports. Thank you to all of you guys here in the chat. Congratulations on the Sweaty Butcher being $50 richer. And I thank you guys so much for being gold members. It means so much to our channel. So thank you for the support. Shout out to all you guys. Turnsy, Mel, Lil Domo, Spooner. I hope you start feeling better, my man. Abel Alvarez, the Nuke Worker, Man, Bear, Pig. Thank you guys. Bunk Hoots. Abel Alvarez, Saturated, Lil Domo, Chill Will gonna be rolling. It's not gonna be great. We got Chill Will and Lil Domo rolling with us in San Antonio. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. Thank you guys so much. Nasty Nate, Robert, Franklin, Kelly McKinnis. And look at that, another 5 gifted Pub Sports Radio memberships from Man Bear Pig. What a guy he is. Polo this, Polo that, Lord of the Pies. Lord of the Pies. Kill me, do it now. That's another name right here. Big Mastro, and I get money. Money I got.
I want to hear the thoughts and feelings of Kill Me Now, actually. What is he or she on?
I fear that her father or his father didn't recognize the relationship. And I've learned my lesson here. I thought that it was all gags and jokes, and I've learned my lesson. It won't happen again.
Remember,
I'm going to celebrate this, not feel like you're making fun of how old I am. I'm going to celebrate it.
Sure.
I gotta go. I want to not close with a leche here. I want to close something a little more serious. Our thoughts are with Christopher Ng. His mom fought a very, very brave battle with cancer, and I know a lot of you guys are going through a similar thing, and there's no words that are gonna make it anything easier. But know that we care. The life can be so tough and so unrelenting and so shitty at times. And you can just feel like that weight is just bringing you down. And then you get to cap with a group of colleagues and friends like this, and you can break through it. And then you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what you guys do for me. And I thank you all in the chat. And I know so many of you guys are struggling and suffering right now with a family member who has cancer. You're seeing Cuppers in the chat. I know Saturated dealing with it with his mom who's got brain cancer. I mean, there's so many guys. We have Terry Moss who just, lost his stepdad, and his mom's going through chemotherapy right now. So many guys are going through it, and just don't go through it alone. You don't have to. You don't have to. Thank you guys for supporting us here at Pub Sports Radio. Let's have a big Friday. Let's have a big weekend. Take care of your bankroll and know that you're loved. Roll that shit, like that shit, smoke it, get that cash. My son, Jose, is going to take us home.
Let's get out of here. See you guys.